Chapter 39-25. He was no match for Lin Xian at all, so he rode the purple flag and quickly escaped. Boom. The person fled very quickly. In an instant he had escaped into the distance. He heaved a sigh of relief. Great, he had finally escaped. However, in the next moment, an earth-shattering energy directly blew him up. That attack was too powerful. Even his soul could not escape. The purple flag tore through the void and escaped by itself. Was he dead? The surrounding people were shocked. Was it Lin Wudi who attacked? Lin Xian was also stunned. He was not the one who attacked. He looked into the distance. It turned out that there was an earth-shattering battle in front of him. A peacock man with 5-colored light was fighting with the golden rock. That terrifying attack just now was the explosion of energy from the battle between the two of them. It directly enveloped the escaping saint. That was why he killed the saint. The others also frantically retreated. It was too terrifying. Now, it was not a matter of whether they could snatch more treasures, but whether they could survive in the battle between these experts. Look, what did that man from the peacock race catch? Some people screamed. It turned out that the two of them had already reached the depths of the battle and grabbed a treasure from the yin-yang qi. It was a blood-red battle robe that emitted a terrifying aura. At a glance, one could tell that it was a peerless treasure. Some people were horrified. Could it be made from the skin of a saint? Moreover, it was not just one saint but a group of saints. These people's scalps went numb. If they wore the battle robe, their defense would definitely increase by several times. No wonder the peacock man attacked, and no wonder the golden rock was envious. Hurry up and go inside. There might be other treasures in the yin-yang qi. The surrounding people went crazy and quickly rushed over. Lin Xian's figure flashed as he dashed over. He did not attack the battle robe. He did not need it. He believed that as long as his divine body evolved again, it would be able to overcome all defenses. What he was looking for was the purest yin-yang qi, something that could allow him to form tai chi. There were not many people in front of him, but each of them was abnormally powerful. They worked together to tear open the void and rushed in. Get lost. Someone roared angrily and shot out a wave of thunder. On the other side, ghostly energy surged. There was also a sky full of blade light and sword shadows to contend against it. The void in front of him exploded. What kind of pill was that? Heavens, could it be the yin-yang pill? Someone screamed. They discovered that there were a few pills floating in the void palace in front of them. They were black and white and looked extremely mysterious. This was a pill formed from the condensation of the yin and yang of heaven and earth. It definitely contained supreme power. Hurry up and snatch it. The eyes of the experts from the holy city had turned red. In an instant, the mystique nomological laws in their hands became even more mysterious. It looked like they were going to go all out. Scram. Do you think you can take the yin and yang pill with just you? A cold laugh sounded out. Then a big hand slapped down. It was a huge hand that was glowing with multicolored light. There were feathers on it and it was extremely terrifying. In an instant, several experts were sent flying. Their bodies were all shattered. Damn it, who is it? Who would dare to attack them at this time? These people looked over angrily. In the next moment they saw an old man walking in the air. The aura on his body was surging. An expert of the peacock race. Some people's scalps went numb. The other party's multicolored divine light was too terrifying. They could not resist it at all. Of course, there were also people who sneered. So what if it was the peacock race? They could not retreat here even if it was the heavenly king. A person shrouded in black fog rushed over. The aura he emitted was extremely terrifying. It was him. He had fought with Lin Wudi before. Although he lost, he was able to leave calmly. Someone screamed. The old man from the peacock race also snorted coldly. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. He used the great peacock mystique and rushed forward. The black figure sneered and many cold nomological laws rushed out like chains. The two collided and a terrifying force swept in all directions. The yin and yang pills were enveloped by yin and yang qi. They floated in the air and were unaffected. However, the surrounding saints were sent flying by this force. Half of their bodies turned into a bloody mist. Damn it, get lost. Don't think about taking it all for yourself. The two people in front of them were really angry. However, at this moment, a golden light slashed down from the sky. Yin and yang pills? That's mine. I'll kill whoever dares to touch it. What followed was an extremely berserk voice. The surrounding people went crazy. Who was that? He was too powerful. He slashed at two powerhouses with a single saber. It was the golden rock. He was here. Someone screamed. The old man from the peacock race and the black figure also felt their scalps go numb. The saber light gave them a fatal sense of danger. The two of them did not fight anymore. Instead, they retreated frantically. Boom. The saber slashed down and the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. No one could stop it. In the next moment, a figure emitting a monstrous light walked out. It was the Golden Rock. He looked down on the surroundings like a god-fiend and arrived nearby. Get lost or I'll make sure you die without a burial place. Damn it, he was too arrogant. What? This was not the territory of the Demon City. Some people were not convinced. They were no match for the Golden Rock in a one-on-one fight, but they could take him down together. If you don't want to leave, then die. The saber in the Golden Rock's hand bloomed with incomparable light. The terrifying saber light swept across the surroundings. All sorts of miserable shrieks instantly rang out, rising and falling one after another. No one was a match for the Golden Rock. Even a level 5 powerhouse was split in half by the saber. No one could block that attack. Even the old man from the peacock race felt his hair stand on end. He regretted it madly. The black figure from the depths of the Heart of Destiny also had a cold expression as he hid in the void. Ha, how dare a bunch of trash covet the treasure. The Golden Rock looked up to the sky and laughed when he saw the people around him being beaten up miserably. Who would dare to take the treasure that he had set his eyes on? He strode forward in large strides. At the same time, he stretched out his golden claws and grabbed at the yin and yang pills in front of him. Oh no, he's going to snatch it away. Damn it, that's a creation of heaven and earth. I might be able to condense the laws of yin and yang after eating it. Those people were extremely jealous. However, the saber strike just now had traumatized them too much. They did not dare to go forward now. They were not in a hurry. Such a treasure must have a powerful defensive formation. He could not have broken it so quickly. Some people still had hope in their hearts. However, they soon despaired because the yin and yang aura did not stop the Golden Rock. It only floated in the air, allowing the golden claws to envelop the yin and yang pills. What, there's no formation. Damn it, are we really going to be taken by the Golden Rock? The surrounding people were in despair. The old man from the peacock race also screamed. Grandpa, where are you? Chapter 39:26. The Golden Rock was overjoyed. Originally, he thought that he would have to spend some effort to get it, but now it seemed like it was as easy as blowing off dust. Great. He was overjoyed. He got it. He might be able to break through to the Minor Saint realm. At that time, his strength would undergo earth-shattering changes. He would even have a chance to enter the pilgrim list. Buzz. However, at the last moment, a golden crow flew out and blocked his sharp claws. Damn it, how dare you stop me? The Golden Rock was furious. The surrounding people also screamed in horror. Could it be an expert of the Golden Crow clan? Perhaps only the Golden Crow clan dared to fight against the Golden Rock. The Golden Rock was also furious. Was there anyone left in the Golden Crow clan? Wasn't the Golden Crow prince killed by someone? Who was it? How dare they be arrogant in front of him? He turned his head. His gaze was like a golden blade that cut through the void. He was stunned. The surrounding people were also stunned. Because they found that it was not an expert of the Golden Crow clan, but a person who looked like a sun war god. Lin Wudi. They screamed. Damn it, this kid's ability was very strange. He could evolve many things. This Golden Crow was evolved by him. Lin Wudi and the Golden Rock were fighting again. Were the two of them going to continue the previous battle? If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The Golden Rock was completely furious. He attacked aggressively. The golden long blade, the terrifying Golden Rock true feather, and the terrifying defense exploded together. The entire space was completely filled with violent energy. Lin Xian was even stronger. He stared at the yin and yang pill after arriving, and a piercing light burst out from his eyes. This pill was extremely beneficial for him to condense Tai Chi. He would never miss it. So, he didn't say a word. He also attacked aggressively. The Great Sun Sword and the Death Demonic Blade were displayed by him, sweeping in all directions. This place was completely destroyed. Those who were watching the battle were also sent flying. Some people were directly killed. Run quickly. These two top experts were fighting. If they were too close, they would definitely die. So, these people all retreated in an instant. What yin and yang pill? Saving one's life was the most important. In the air, a black figure was also sent flying while vomiting blood. His face was filled with unwillingness. He originally wanted to hide in the dark and wait for an opportunity, but now he couldn't. Every space in front of him was filled with destructive power. He couldn't stay any longer. The old man from the peacock race wanted to hold on for a while longer, but he soon spat out blood. Half of his body had been shattered. He was so scared that he screamed and retreated. He had to hurry and find his grandfather. Otherwise, the treasure would really be taken away by these two people. Brat, you've completely angered me. The Golden Rock's bloodline power was fully unleashed. Rock's fury. He spread his wings, and those feathers turned into countless wild blades, rushing over like a flood. Do you think I'm scared of you? Lin Xian wielded the Law of the Sun and used stellar transposition to form a golden vortex that sucked in the terrifying saber light. They were all shrouded in golden light. Then they pushed back. The two forces exploded again. The violent aura caused Lin Xian and the Golden Rock to continuously retreat. At this moment, a snow-white little marquis rushed through the turbulence. He came near the yin-yang pill, and then the small bowl on his head directly covered the yin-yang pill. Yeah, I got it. Little White cheered with the small bowl on its head. Damn it, damn monkey, go die for me. The Golden Rock was completely furious. What was going on? They couldn't withstand this place, but someone could stay. And it was a monkey. And he even stole his yin-yang pill. Leave the pill for me. He roared crazily, and the long saber in his hand turned into a giant dragon that rushed out. Little White made a funny face and jumped into the void, disappearing without a trace. In the next moment he returned to Lin Xian's side. Little White didn't know if it was delicious or not. He sat on Lin Xian's shoulder and began to think about the yin-yang pill. Lin Xian hurriedly said, "Little ancestor, leave the thing to me. I'll find you some supreme-grade spirit fruits." "No, I want to drink monkey wine." As Little White negotiated, Lin Xian smiled bitterly. Okay. I'll give you whatever you want. Deal. Little White narrowed her eyes, then took the yin-yang pill and entered the black earth. Great. Lin Xian smiled. This thing would be a step closer to forming the real Taiji diagram. The Golden Rock opposite him was completely mad. Damn it, it's this despicable brat again. He wanted to kill him previously, and now he even stole his fortune. How could he tolerate it? Kill. With a roar, the laws were released and heaven and earth trembled. It was as if the entire world was about to shatter. Run. Everyone frantically fled the area. They knew that the Golden Rock had completely gone crazy. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Lin Xian roared, and a dragon roar came from his body. The sun sword in his hand shot out beams of golden dragon sword chi. The power of the sword chi also increased exponentially. The two of them fought in an earth-shattering manner. The Golden Rock was so angry that he vomited blood. Damn it, he still couldn't do anything to the other party. In the distance, an even more terrifying aura filled the air. There were also screams. The Golden Rock knew that other places also had rare treasures. Brat, just you wait. I'll snatch the yin-yang pill one day. Your life is also mine. After saying that, he slashed out again, then turned and left. If they continued fighting, he wouldn't be able to kill him. The other party might even die together in the end. This wasn't what he wanted. He'd better seize the other fortunes first. When his cultivation increased again, he'd kill the other party as easily as flipping his hand. Lin Xian didn't attack anymore. He snorted coldly and charged in another direction. The aura in front was even more terrifying. Moreover, there were ghostly wails and howls. There were even Fifth Heaven sages who ran out with their souls. His body was completely shattered. What's going on? What happened? The surrounding people were terrified. That was a late-stage Fifth Heaven expert. He could definitely defeat everyone with his strength, but at this moment he was in such a sorry state. The person who escaped had a face full of terror. Dead, they were all dead. In an instant, 5 late-stage Fifth Heavenly Layer cultivators had died inside. Too scary. I don't want to go in there again for the rest of my life. He trembled in fear and quickly fled the area. What? Even late-stage Fifth Heaven experts died in there? What is that place? Too scary. I'm afraid no one can go in there. They knew that there might be an earth-shattering summon inside, but they couldn't go in. There was nothing they could do. The fortune is mine. At this moment, a figure descended. His body was blooming with 5-colored light. It was the expert from the peacock race. Everyone was shocked. This person was very strong. However, some people shook their heads. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't go in unless a real minor saint came. These people shook their heads and sighed. Chapter 39:27. However, the man from the peacock race had an extremely arrogant expression. He was wearing a battle robe and a terrifying aura was trembling. Endless laws flew forward rapidly. The space in front of him was torn apart. What? This battle robe was actually obtained by him? The surrounding people were all stupefied. The battle robe was made of at least 10 saint skins. It was extremely powerful and had unparalleled defense. With it, it could block all attacks. It seemed that he really had a chance to enter. These people's eyes were red. The peacock man rushed in with the super strong battle robe. Not long after, another person rushed in. This person had a burly voice and a surging aura. There was a bead above his head. That bead was as big as a millstone and emitted a terrifying aura. It even transformed into an illusion of a golden lion that enveloped him. He also rushed in forcefully. Heavens, who was that person? He should be from the golden lion race. Was that a sacred artifact on his head? These people were terrified. No, it was an inner core. However, it was probably an inner core left behind by a great ancient demon after its death. Its power was not inferior to a top sacred artifact. The aura in front was even more terrifying. Could it be that the two of them had a huge battle inside? The people outside watched from afar. It was very likely, but they did not know who won and who lost. Both of them were extremely strong, and the trump cards in their hands were even more terrifying. They were probably evenly matched. Not long after, there was a sudden rumble in front of them as if the sky and earth were collapsing. Two figures rushed out. Their faces were covered in wounds and dirt. Damn it. The man from the peacock race roared as he tore through the void and left. The surrounding people were all stunned. What happened? Could it be that neither of them obtained the treasure? Moreover, it seemed that both of them were injured. Heavens, they were wearing super armor and had a terrifying inner core. Could they not block it? The golden lion glanced at the people in the distance and shook his head. Don't go. There's no treasure inside. It was a corpse, a rotten corpse with a terrifying aura of death. Damn it, who said that there was a treasure here? At the end of his words, the golden lion roared. After the two of them entered, they almost died inside. If it weren't for the terrifying trump cards in their hands, they probably wouldn't have been able to come out. When the others heard this, their scalps went numb. A corpse. They didn't know whose body it was. But thinking about it, he definitely couldn't afford to provoke them anymore. Let's go quickly. They all fled from this place and went to other places. The mysteries of the 8 trigrams were as if there were 8 worlds within it. Therefore, they quickly traveled through space. In another space, the surrounding people were crazily attacking. They discovered that there were yin and yang energies in this space. They actually condensed into an ancient building. It was extremely mysterious. Everyone was moved and charged in. They discovered that there were actually traces of people living inside. To be able to leave behind a relic here, one had to be an incredible saint. Everything they used contained the great Tao of heaven and earth. Hurry up and snatch it. If you can obtain it and wear it for a long period of time, you will definitely be able to increase your comprehension of laws. These people were all crazy. They quickly attacked and snatched. Tables, chairs, teacups and bowls were all snatched away. There were even people who fought until rivers of blood flowed for a table. Lin Xian had also arrived. He directly entered the 3rd level. It was the top level. He found that it was a bedroom. The pillow was not bad. Lin Xian reached out a hand to grab it, but at this moment she shouted and put down the treasure. Immediately after, endless fiery red sword light rushed over and turned into a monstrous sea of fire, blocking Lin Xian's palm. Who was it? Lin Xian was surprised. There was still someone who could block his attack. He turned his head to look. He saw a beautiful woman. She rushed over with a murderous aura. You're Lin Wudi? Get lost. I won't kill you. This woman was incomparably cold, as if she could kill him as soon as she made a move. It's you. Lin Xian was also surprised. The other party should be the Fire Phoenix of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. That mirror is not bad. Take it. It might be useful to you. This pillow is mine. The pillow also carried a powerful yin and yang aura. He didn't know what treasure it was carved from. However, thinking about it, it would be a wonderful thing if he could cultivate in his sleep in the future. Therefore, Lin Xian was determined to get it. Everything here is mine, including this pillow. The Fire Phoenix said coldly. Lin Xian sneered when he heard that. What a big appetite. Aren't you afraid of bursting yourself? He was so angry that he laughed. Previously, he thought that the Golden Rock was arrogant enough, but he didn't expect the Fire Phoenix to be even more arrogant. Does she really think that this is her territory? Lin Xian didn't care at all. Instead, he reached out to grab the yin-yang pillow. In an instant, he held it in his hand. How dare you? The Fire Phoenix was furious. How dare he disobey her orders? He deserved to die. She slashed out with her sword. The terrifying sword light circled in the sky and turned into a flaming phoenix that rushed over. From the looks of it, he wanted to kill Lin Xian completely. Get lost. Lin Xian retaliated with a palm. It hit the cold sword light, causing heaven and earth to shake. The entire Yin-Yang ancient building shook violently. The sword chi didn't shatter. Instead, it was sent flying, but the light on it dimmed a lot. Lin Xian retracted his palm in surprise. What a cold attack. It seems that the other party has comprehended the law of the sword in addition to the law of fire. The sword was originally meant to attack. The law of the sword was even more fierce. Everyone in the 10,000 Swords Pavilion was a terrifying sword saint. Their power far exceeded that of their peers. Now it seemed that it was true. It's useless. You're not my opponent at all. My cultivation is stronger than yours. And now I can fight above my level. What do you have to fight me? The Fire Phoenix walked over aggressively. The flaming sword light on her body jumped. Sword Saint? Lin Xian put away the yin-yang pillow completely, turned around and revealed a smile. Very well, let's compete in sword skills. He was also a swordsman. Although he didn't condense the law of the sword, Lin Xian's sword skills weren't weak at all. Other laws were enough to make up for it. Coupled with the great dragon sword soul, his attack power was even stronger than the law of the sword. You want to compete in sword skills with me? The Fire Phoenix's eyes were filled with disdain. If the other party used the law of death or the violent law of the sun, the other party could fight with her. But in terms of sword skills, the other party was probably 108,000 meters away from her. Lin Wudi, you're too arrogant. Do you really think you're omnipotent? In terms of sword skills, I'll give you a handicap of one hand. Lin Xian also laughed. It's been a long time since someone dared to challenge me in sword skills. You want to challenge me? Well then, if I use any divine ability other than sword skills later, then I'll consider it my loss. Lin Xian pulled out the unparalleled sword, and a terrifying sword intent emerged from his body. Chapter 39-28. The Fire Phoenix's eyes were filled with disdain. She didn't say anything else. She estimated that she could kill the other party in 3 moves. The flaming long sword slashed downwards. Sword chi crisscrossed the sky. That power was really too strong. It surpassed all the previous magical powers. Lin Xian laughed and slashed out with the unparalleled sword. The long sword drew an arc in the air. The terrifying sword light brought with it a vibrating power. It directly entangled the other party's flaming sword light. Then the two collided. It was as if the sky was falling and the earth was splitting. How was this possible? His sword technique. The Fire Phoenix was surprised. Although it was just a simple exchange, she could clearly feel the exquisiteness of the other party's sword technique. Although the other party didn't have the law of the sword, other laws combined with the sword chi still displayed unparalleled power. Her face was completely gloomy. No wonder the other party dared to compete with her in sword technique. It seemed that he was also an expert in the way of the sword. However, no one could compare to the 10,000 Swords Pavilion in terms of sword technique. Next, the Fire Phoenix displayed a set of sky-burning sword technique. The terrifying flames and sword chi seemed to be able to burn for 9 days. This sword technique was known for its violence and ferocity. Above Lin Xian's sword chi, the law of the sun revolved. It was unparalleled and swept across the area. It was as if one sun after another exploded in the air. The other party was fierce, but he was even more violent than the other party. He could destroy everything. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. The Fire Phoenix discovered that her sky-burning sword technique was suppressed. How was this possible? She really couldn't believe it. As a sword saint, the law was a must. If they couldn't condense the law of the sword, then they wouldn't have the face to be called a sword saint. Once they condensed it, their attack power would reach a terrifying level. It was far beyond the same level. Therefore, under normal circumstances, no one dared to contend with a sword saint of the same level. And now, her cultivation was a realm higher than the other party. Logically speaking, if she wanted to kill such a person, she could probably kill him with a single sword chi. But now, her peerless sword technique was actually suppressed by the other party. Then how strong was the other party's attack power? However, what shocked her even more was that the other party didn't have the law of the sword at all. This made her unable to understand it all. Without the law of the sword, he could still display such a powerful sword technique. What kind of trump card did the other party have? Lin Xian was also surprised. Although he did not have the sword laws, he had the great dragon sword soul. His attack power was extremely strong. The fact that his opponent was able to fight him to this extent showed that he was indeed an expert in the way of the sword. It looked like Xiao Qin had to think of a way to comprehend the laws of the sword after he condensed the taiji. As a swordsman, it was impossible without the law of sword. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light as he thought about his future path. The Golden Palace was extremely mysterious. Other than the Yin-Yang Palace there were other palaces. He remembered that the Hall of All Life should be able to help him condense the Law of Sword. Thinking of this, Lin Xian coldly shouted. He wanted to end this battle quickly. 9 suns opened the sky. With a roar, the flames on the unparalleled sword burned fiercely, turning into a huge sword that reached the heavens, illuminating the entire sky. As of this moment, the people off in the distance as well as on the first and second floors, could sense what was happening. Heavens, who are these people fighting? What a terrifying sword intent. Are we going to have a big showdown? Do you think I'm afraid of you? The Fire Phoenix also roared. 9 days of Phoenix dance. There were a few phantoms of phoenixes circling around her long sword. They were equally powerful. Boom. 2 peerless attacks landed, clashing in midair and exploding violently. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The light and sword chi enveloped everything. The Yin-Yang Tower was completely overturned. The experts in the tower who were fighting for the treasures spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were filled with fear and despair. Outside, those who wanted to rush to the Yin-Yang Tower were swept away by a peerless sword chi. Some of their bodies were shattered, and they spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Damn it, it was too terrifying. There were peerless sword saints fighting inside. The commotion here alarmed everyone. They all looked towards the 3rd floor. They wondered who was so terrifying. The aura on the 3rd floor was so strong that it seemed like it could destroy the world. Gradually, the 2 figures separated from each other. Lin Xian had a sword wound on his body. His body was covered in golden blood. However, at this moment the sword wound was rapidly healing. On the other side, the Fire Phoenix covered her body. Her body was trembling slightly. There was also a sword wound on her body. Furthermore, this sword strike was even deeper. It had nearly split her entire body in half. Even her internal organs were severely injured. What was even more terrifying was that she couldn't erase the sword chi on it. As a result, her injuries were getting worse and worse. Damn it, what kind of law was this? She was too shocked. She didn't expect to lose to the other party in swordsmanship. Kid, just you wait. This matter isn't over. The Fire Phoenix turned around and flew down. She didn't dare to stay here any longer. Lin Xian snorted coldly. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that the experts of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion will come again. To be honest, he was really surprised that the Fire Phoenix was able to injure him. One had to know that the Golden Rock couldn't injure him previously. And the Fire Phoenix had injured his body. 10,000 Swords Pavilion, huh? Lin Xian's eyes shone with a piercing cold light. As a swordsman, the other party's swordsmanship had aroused his fighting spirit. His body was filled with loss. He activated his divine body and began to repair the sword wound. Although he was injured, he didn't care. The other party's injuries were more serious than his. If they really fought, he was confident that he could kill the other party. Look, someone is coming down. Inside the Yin-Yang restaurant, the people below were terrified. In the next moment, they saw a beautiful person floating in the air. It was the Fire Phoenix. She was injured. Who injured her? These people were terrified. After the Fire Phoenix arrived, she snorted coldly. Lin Wudi was despicable and shameless. He injured me when I was snatching the treasure. I think he should have gotten the treasure. What? Lin Wudi injured her? It must have been Lin Wudi who plotted against her. The fairy said that it was a ploy. These people were shocked. Some gritted their teeth and some had fiery eyes. What treasure was it? The Fire Phoenix's eyes flashed and she sneered. Listen carefully. That is the Yin-Yang inheritance. If you cultivate it, you can directly obtain the Yin-Yang power. After saying that, she directly tore through the void and left. The surrounding people were really crazy. It was actually such a peerless inheritance. Damn it, they definitely couldn't let that Lin Wudi get it. Everyone, let's join forces and kill this despicable person. These people quickly rushed over. On the 3rd floor. When Lin Xian was recovering from his injuries, he heard these words. Suddenly, a fierce look appeared in his eyes. A woman's heart was really the most vicious. He sneaked an attack on the other party? He obtained the Yin-Yang inheritance? The other party was talking nonsense. Chapter 39-29. But now, no matter what he said, these jealous people probably wouldn't believe him. So he didn't say anything. When those people reached the 3rd floor, Lin Xian directly used 9 suns open the sky. The berserk sword chi sent all of those people flying. A few of them were directly destroyed in body and soul. Even their souls didn't have time to escape. The others were also seriously injured. Their eyes were filled with fear. Damn it, we've been deceived. That Fire Phoenix woman is detestable. They now understood that Lin Wudi's sneak attack was a joke. With such strength, was there a need for a sneak attack? It was obvious that Fire Phoenix was injured in a head-on battle. As for Fire Phoenix's other words, the yin-yang inheritance, they also felt that it was very suspicious. Forget it, there might not be an inheritance. This woman probably wanted to kill someone with a borrowed knife. These sages had lived until now, which one of them wasn't smart? They instantly understood. Therefore, they didn't find trouble with Lin Xian anymore. Instead, they began to look for other opportunities. Lin Xian left the yin-yang ancient building and flew into the distance. The people around him were still fighting and snatching treasures. In the distance, there was an even more monstrous light flickering. However, Lin Xian didn't make any more moves. He had already snatched several treasures. He felt that it was about time to start breaking through. Now that he had the two laws and the yin and yang pills, as well as this yin and yang energy, he felt that he could start cultivating Tai Chi and let it truly appear in the world. He rushed towards a place with fewer people, but he didn't leave the yin-yang area. Fortunately, the space here was vast. Lin Xian finally found a secluded and quiet place. There was nothing here, only the aura of yin and yang permeating the air. He set up more than 10 defensive array formations. After all, he didn't know how long it would take for him to break through. It would be troublesome if he was ambushed. Sitting down cross-legged and feeling the yin and yang aura around him, Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms and began to circulate. The Tai Chi art was in his body. The Tai Chi art and the Tai Chi art of death constantly circulated and intertwined, causing half of Lin Xian's body to be pitch black. The other half was golden like a god. These two powers could coexist in his body, but they couldn't truly intertwine. Tai Chi, on the other hand, allowed these two powers to fuse together perfectly. Just like that, Lin Xian sank into cultivation. A month later, Lin Xian opened his eyes. There were indeed changes. At this moment, he had 3 heavenly Tao golden lotuses, the yin-yang space, and the 8 trigrams revolving around him. It could be said that the timing was right. Lin Xian's cultivation speed had advanced by leaps and bounds. Could be said that he had traveled 1,000 miles in a day. In the end, he took out the yin-yang pill. Sensing the mysterious aura it contained, Lin Xian excitedly swallowed it. As the yin and yang pill entered his body, the yin and yang energy quickly spread throughout his body, rushing into every part of his meridians and blood. Then Lin Xian took out the yin-yang pillow and laid down on it. Then he began to practice Tai Chi from afar. It looked as if Lin Xian was sleeping. However, he was not sleeping. He was cultivating. On Lin Xian's body, the yin and yang energies were constantly circulating, sometimes terrifying, sometimes bright. Just like that, time slowly passed. In the 3rd month, the golden rock killed in all directions and finally obtained a yin-yang treasure bottle. This made him ecstatic. In the 5th month, the Fire Phoenix also killed in all directions and obtained a treasure. It was a mirror with yin on one side and yang on the other. It contained 2 completely opposite powers of the laws. Once the yin-yang mirror appeared, it swept through all directions. These people's strength increased greatly, and they were full of confidence. Then they searched even more crazily. Apart from the yin-yang hall, there were also all kinds of battles and killings in the other halls. In the endless sea of lightning, Lei Jin bathed in it. He was like a god that had been reborn. Ever since the heavenly hall opened, he had been in it and had not left. No one knew what he had obtained in it, but the aura of thunder that he occasionally used made some of the older experts shudder. They knew that Lei Jin must have obtained an incredible opportunity. When he came out, he would definitely shock the world. In the Earth Hall, in a mysterious place, there was a pool of blood. Blood was boiling in it, and there was a terrifying aura of blood. In the pool of blood, there was a person sitting cross-legged. It was a handsome young man. He was so demonic that he did not look like a human. It was the 9-headed unicorn. At this moment, the illusory figures of the unicorn and the 9-headed sky snake appeared behind him. It kept roaring and it became more and more condensed. It was as if it was really going to cross time and space to be resurrected. The bloodline power of the 9-headed unicorn was growing stronger every day. By the time he made his move again, his strength would have undergone an earth-shattering change. In another place in the Earth Hall, a great battle was breaking out. A slender man was fighting with the saints around him. His body was covered in blood and he was severely injured. However, his eyes were brighter and brighter. Behind him, there was a divine tree that reached the sky, releasing a terrifying aura. It gave the man an extremely strong vitality and recovery ability. In the end, he killed all the strong enemies and laughed proudly. He was the North Beast. At this moment the aura of the North Beast had also changed drastically. It seemed that his bloodline was awakening further. After all, the myriad beast body was very strong. If he had not been captured by the people of the demon planet and suffered for those years, his strength would have shocked the world. Although he had been delayed for a period of time, with the special Golden Palace and the guidance of the Black Mountain, his bloodline was much stronger. More importantly, the Northern Demon's bloodline talent had increased by leaps and bounds. At that moment, the Northern Demon's cultivation and strength had increased by leaps and bounds. When he appeared again, he would definitely not be weaker than those top geniuses. In the human hall, the dark red divine dragon rushed out with his face covered in dust. Behind him, an ancient ruin was destroyed. That terrifying aura caused all the strong cultivators to tremble in fear. The dark red dragon was also injured. However, he was like an old monster laughing at the sky. Ah! It seemed that he had obtained a shocking treasure. Beside him, a black figure rushed out and asked, "Brother, how did it go? Did you get it?" The black figure was actually the toad. He did not expect the two of them to be together. Who knew how many people they had harmed? At this moment, the toad's aura was even more obvious. There were countless strange runes on his back. At a glance, one could tell that it was extraordinary. "I got it." The dark red dragon nodded. The toad grinned. "How is it? I was right, wasn't I? There's an ancient ruin in the north. Let's go together." "What are we waiting for? Hurry up." The dark red dragon's eyes were red. The two of them turned into streaks of light and rushed into the distance. In another space within the human palace, there were countless gigantic stone steels, all of which contained a mysterious power. There were many strong cultivators around them, tempering their bodies and evolving their bloodlines. At the front of the stone tablet stood a figure. It was a beautiful figure who looked like a holy maiden. Countless people looked up at her with envy. Chapter 39:30. This person was Murong Qingqing. At this moment, the seven-colored light on Murong Qingqing's body was even more mysterious. She was trying her best to comprehend the laws on the mysterious stone tablet. This law could purify one's bloodline. It was truly rare, and Murong Qingqing was overjoyed. Although she wasn't from the phoenix race, she had the seven-colored phoenix, which was an extremely precious bloodline. However, the more precious a bloodline was, the harder it was to awaken it. She didn't have the phoenix race's inheritance, so she could only rely on herself. Everyone was cultivating. The 5 halls of the Roland's Golden Palace were truly blessed lands. It all depended on whether or not you had the strength and qualifications to obtain them. At the same time, outside the Roland's Golden Palace, in a mysterious place on the celestial fate planet. No one could come here and no one could find it. The spirit veins here were extremely terrifying, even surpassing those that anyone had seen before. The spirit veins converged to form a spirit spring, and it emitted the aura of the great Tao. Any saint would be envious if they saw it. And within the spirit spring there was a person floating. It was a beautiful woman. At this moment, her eyes were tightly shut as if she was sleeping. However, her body was emitting a resplendent light. The spirit spring was constantly flowing into her body and then out again. If Lin Xian was here, he would definitely recognize her. This sleeping woman was Xin Jingqiu. Although Xin Jingqiu hadn't entered the Roland's Golden Palace, she definitely had a great fortune. Everyone was fighting for their own fortune. Some people's eyes were red as if they had gone crazy. Just like that, a year passed. In this year, everyone's strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. They were much stronger than before. This made everyone happy. This was just the Roland's Golden Palace. They wondered if there were other treasuries on the celestial fate planet. In this year they felt that their strength had increased, and it was comparable to hundreds of years outside. Furthermore, their strength was still increasing. In a secluded and cold place, yin and yang energies revolved around a figure lying there, seemingly in a deep sleep. However, the aura on his body was extremely strange and terrifying. Half of this person's body was shining with a holy light, while the other half was pitch black like hell. However, the two completely opposite powers were actually intertwining with each other. It seemed like they wanted to fuse together. Furthermore, he had already fused most of it and would succeed very soon. Sure enough, after a few days, the two fused together perfectly, forming a pattern of the yin-yang fish. At this moment, the figure lying on the ground suddenly opened his eyes. One of his eyes was as black as a millstone, while the other was as golden as the sun. With a loud roar, the yin and yang energies in his body began to circulate rapidly. The terrifying aura that he exuded shattered the world around him. Did he succeed? The figure roared at the sky. He was too excited. This person was none other than Lin Xian. After a year of hard work and the various fortunate encounters he finally managed to merge the two forces of yin and yang together. The death law and the sun law intertwined with each other. A Taiji diagram was formed in his hand. The power of the Taiji diagram was many times stronger than when the two were used separately. Great. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with boundless excitement. Finally, he succeeded in forming Taiji. His current strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. If he had encountered the Fire Phoenix or the Golden Rock from before, he was confident that he could have easily defeated them. Of course, he also knew that the others in this place would also obtain a fortuitous encounter. Perhaps those people's strength would also undergo an earth-shattering change. But so what? He had boundless confidence in himself. No matter how powerful the things these people obtained were, they would not be as powerful as his Taiji. Lin Xian sat down cross-legged again. He did not leave but instead took out the primordial blood essence that he had obtained. He took out 5 drops of blood essence. 5 fist-sized blood balls revolved around him. Lin Xian used a secret technique to nourish his divine body and quickly absorb them. As for the other 4, he gave the Great Dragon Sword Soul to nourish and revive the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The Great Dragon Sword Soul's absorption speed was extremely fast. The 9 Yang Divine Body's absorption speed was not slow either. It was completely absorbed in 2 months. Lin Xian felt that his body had become even stronger. Of the 9 suns on his body, the 5th one had become even more resplendent than before. It seemed that he would be able to successfully condense the 5th sun on planet Tianming. It would allow the 9 Yang Divine Body to take another step forward. It was time to make a move. He wondered how those people were doing. Lin Xian thought of the Golden Rock, the Fire Phoenix and the others, and his eyes shone with a piercing cold light. He could not wait to test the power of Taiji. Buzz. He turned into a yin-yang bolt of lightning, tore through the void and flew into the distance. There were 8 spaces in the blood-colored 8 trigrams. At this moment, countless people were screaming in one of the spaces. Heavens, look at what that is. They discovered that there were countless black shadows floating in the runes of the 8 trigrams. Is that a weapon? Is that a sacred artifact? The yin-yang energies were tempering the weapon. Heavens, if such a weapon was formed, how terrifying would its power be? These people's eyes turned red. Some people also screamed. No, it's not a complete sacred artifact. Look, it's not completely formed yet. However, it had already taken shape. As long as it was tempered with all its strength, its power would surpass that of ordinary sacred artifacts. That's great. A saint artifact was extremely attractive to every saint, so how could these saints not covet it? Hurry up and make a move. These people rushed forward as if they had gone mad. However, this time a crisis had erupted. These sacred artifacts had been tempered by endless aura and had fallen into a deep slumber. After countless years, they had long gained spirituality. At this moment, when they sensed that someone had made a move, they erupted with an incomparable light. A sword light pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 lands, instantly blasting 3 saints away. On the other side, there were trembling spear lights, pagoda, and cauldron floating up and down. Those saints who had made a move all flew back with serious injuries. Damn it, it was too terrifying. These sacred artifacts had already gained spirituality. It would not be easy to subdue them. Hurry up and spread the news. Let our people come. These saints quickly spread the news. They might not be able to get it, but the powerhouses of their holy city would definitely have a way to get it. The news quickly spread. The powerhouses in the other spaces immediately took action after learning about it. They had to get their hands on such treasures. It would be best if they could get all of them. This way, the strength of their holy city would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. And they themselves would be able to obtain many sacred artifacts. Think about it. In a battle, no matter how strong the opponent was, as long as several peerless divine artifacts were used, you would be reduced to ashes. Get out of my way. The peacock race has taken a liking to this place. If you don't want to die, get out of my way. An old man surrounded by 5 colored lights stood in front and roared. Chapter 39-31. Damn it, he's too despicable. Does he want to take it all for himself? Many sages were instantly enraged. There were also some who were terrified. They recognized this old man. This old man was very strong. However, there were still people who could fight against him. The terrifying one was his grandfather. That peacock man's strength was terrifying. He was not weaker than Golden Rock and Fire Phoenix. Moreover, he had obtained a sage battle robe previously. Its defense was shockingly strong. Probably not many people could break through his defense. Moreover, it had been more than a year. He must have obtained other opportunities. How strong was such a person? They did not dare to imagine. My grandfather is already on his way. He will be here soon. You'd better leave obediently. Otherwise, when my grandfather arrives, none of you will be able to survive. The old man in front was very arrogant. Some people's scalps went numb as they retreated in fear. However, there were also some experts who thought that he was strong and did not retreat. They all had trump cards and backgrounds. Some even snorted coldly. They wanted to kill this old man first. Someone attacked. A terrifying light flew out. Countless great path laws filled the air. This attack could tear everything apart. A level 5 advanced realm expert from Sangtian attacked. Everyone screamed in fear. The peacock man sneered. He did not know what was good for him. He took out a blue fan and waved it forward. That fan carried an extremely cold aura. It overflowed with ice and filled the air. It instantly froze the other party's great path laws. Not only that, the entire space was completely frozen. The arm of the level 5 advanced realm expert that attacked was covered in ice. Soon half of his body was frozen. And it continued to spread. Damn it. That person was so frightened that he quickly retreated. At the same time, his body shone brightly. Flames burned as he tried to resist. However, he could not resist at all. In the end, he turned into an ice cube and exploded. Only his soul escaped. What? The power was so terrifying. The people around felt their scalps go numb. Some of them who thought that they could fight back now had extremely ugly expressions. In their imagination, this old man was not so terrifying. It's that fan. I remember that this should be a treasure that his grandfather snatched from the hands of many experts. It carried an extremely cold aura. When the fan was used, it froze the world. He originally thought that it would be in the hands of the peacock man, but he didn't expect it to be given to this old man. Many people were terrified. The old man looked up to the sky and laughed. How is it? Do you know how powerful I am now? Even I couldn't stop him, let alone my grandfather. Hurry up and scram. As he spoke, he struck out a few more times. Instantly, the surrounding ice spread rapidly. When the people in the distance felt this aura, they were so scared that their scalps went numb. They quickly fled. Damn it, this is too despicable. There's no need to be afraid. He has treasures, but does he think we don't? This year, everyone had their own opportunities and someone walked out. This person was a demonic beast with flames burning on his body. It was unknown what his true form was. However, his aura was extremely terrifying. He was also at the late stage of the 5th firmament. After the old man finished reading, he sneered. Do you think that just because you cultivate fire, you can be compared to my ice? You are too naive. As he spoke, he waved his fan. Terrifying ice laws rushed out and enveloped the world. The great demon roared angrily as many fire laws appeared on his body to resist. However, he soon discovered that his flame laws had been sealed in ice. The surrounding people sighed. No, the gap between the two was too big. Everyone thought that this great demon would be frozen and suffer a terrible fate. However, at this moment the great demon took out a branch. It was a branch that was red like fire. The moment it was taken out, it was as if the sun had risen, and the surrounding ice melted quickly. Then the two were in a stalemate. It was blocked. Changtian, what did he take out? It was a branch. No one knew what it was left behind. The flame aura on it was too terrifying. It could actually block the ice. No wonder he could stand out. Everyone was discussing. Next, a few people also took out treasures. They were either extremely cold or as bright as the sun. In short, they had an extremely terrifying aura. As long as they waited for their experts to arrive, they would be able to start snatching and killing. The remaining people watched from afar to see if there was a chance to fish in troubled waters. On this day, another figure hurried over at high speed. There was the aura of treasures here. There were so many weapons. What a good place. Someone came. Was it an expert? No idea. It seemed like there was only one person. How dare he be so arrogant? Was he courting death? These people were discussing. The few people in front sneered. At this time, only the few major forces could contend with them. The others were courting death. However, when they saw the person who came, they were stunned. Wasn't that the kid? Lin Wudi was still alive. He hasn't appeared for more than a year. I thought he had fallen. All sorts of voices were heard. Indeed, in the past year they had seen the figures of many experts. There were even some who rose quickly. However, they didn't see Lin Xian. They thought that Lin Xian might have explored some terrifying ruins and died in it. They didn't expect him to appear again. Phew. The people in front naturally saw Lin Xian. Immediately their eyes were filled with cold killing intent. In particular, the elder from the peacock race was trembling all over. Kid, you're not dead. That's great. Let me personally send you to hell. He hated the other party too much. Previously, the other party had snatched too many treasures that they had taken a fancy to. Moreover, the other party had defeated him. What was even more infuriating was that the other party had dared to challenge his grandfather. This undoubtedly made him produce a biting cold killing intent. However, previously he didn't have the strength to fight against the other party. The other party was too strong and could contend against his grandfather. However, it was different now. In the past year, their strength had undergone earth-shattering changes. His grandfather had obtained a lot of opportunities. Even now, he had obtained an ice fan. Its power was terrifying and could freeze a late-stage fifth heaven saint. Kid, get over here and die. Hand over the meridian blood in your body. The elder from the peacock race stood out and shouted coldly. Lin Xian glanced at the other party. So it's you, trash. How dare you shout in front of me? Ask your grandfather to come out. Today I'll send the two of you to hell together. Damn kid, do you want to die? The elder from the peacock race was furious. The current me is no longer the strength I was a year ago. Just now, I easily injured a late-stage fifth heaven saint. Do you think you can resist me? Chapter 39-32. As he spoke, he waved the fan in front of him. A terrifying icy aura spread out and froze the area. Oh no, the old man is attacking. Oh no, Lin Wuti is in danger. Yes, no matter how strong he was only at the late stage of the fifth heaven. Moreover, he had not appeared for a year. Perhaps he was recuperating. At this moment, he was no match for the old man. They were all top geniuses, but they were not strong enough here. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. After all, there would be earth-shattering changes in the Golden Palace every day. Lin Wuti was strong before, but he might not be able to fight against the old man now. Oh, what a terrifying icy aura. Lin Xian was surprised. No wonder the old man dared to be so arrogant. It turned out that he had obtained a treasure. He could feel the terror of the ice. Indeed, it could freeze a late stage of the fifth heaven. But so what? The old man had obtained a fortune, but he had not. The fortune that he had obtained was far more than these people. The yin and yang qi on his body shone brightly. Lin Xian walked forward. The ice wanted to freeze him, but when it came into contact with the yin and yang qi, it strangely disappeared. Ah, this kid is dead. The old man from the peacock race sneered. The others also exclaimed. Was Lin Wuti really frozen? Even his soul did not escape? At this moment they saw a world of ice and snow in front of them. There was no one in sight. This is the consequence of going against the peacock race. The old man snorted. It was too easy for you to die like this. I should have captured your soul and tortured you for a few thousand years so that you could never be reincarnated. The old man's voice had a hint of viciousness. The others felt their scalps go numb. A genius had fallen just like that. What goes around comes around. Previously, Lin Wuti had killed the Golden Crow Prince and countless powerhouses, causing the Golden Crow race to be almost completely annihilated. They did not expect it to be his turn again. Many people sighed. However, at this moment, a cold voice came from the ice in front of them. Is that so? Capturing a soul and torturing it for a few thousand years. Very well, I'll do that to you later. This voice clearly spread throughout the crowd. Everyone was stupefied. Damn it, whose voice was that? Did it belong to that Lin Wuti? What? Is he still alive? Impossible, how could he still be alive? The old man from the peacock race screamed madly. His eyes widened as if he had seen a ghost. It must be a ghost. Do you want to become an evil spirit after you die? It's useless. It's useless against me. Just die. He waved his fan again. The ice in front of them was even more horrifying. It was like a world of ice and snow. The aura it emitted was extremely frightening. Now, even if there were any ghosts, they would have been frozen. However, with a boom, the ice in front of him suddenly cracked open and melted rapidly. A figure walked out. What? Not dead. The peacock race elder's hands trembled. His heart was filled with endless fear. The surrounding people were also stunned. How could this be? This Lin Wuti was actually fine? Wasn't this too strange? Had his physique already reached such a terrifying level? Everyone discussed animatedly. The old man also gritted his teeth. If you only blocked it. I don't believe that you can block me a few times. He crazily attacked. The treasured fan in his hand kept waving. The terrifying laws of ice quickly spread. Everyone knew that an earth-shattering battle was about to erupt. They didn't know which was more terrifying, the divine body or the super-powerful sacred artifact? In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian's lips curled into a disdainful smile. He stretched out a finger. On his finger, the laws of death and the laws of the sun fused together and pointed forward. Tai Chi finger. As he pointed forward, the laws of ice in front of him kept shattering. This finger seemed to have turned into the only thing in the world. Impossible. The old man screamed and wanted to escape. However, this single finger had caused his body to explode. Boom. Blood mist filled the air as screams continued. The surrounding people were completely stunned. Their minds were blank. What did they see? Such a terrifying old man from the Peacock clan could even freeze a late-stage fifth heaven saint with a raise of his hand. How terrifying was that? Against very few people. However, at this moment he couldn't even block a single finger from Lin Wudi. How terrifying was this Lin Wudi? Damn it, could it be that he wasn't injured this year but cultivating? Thinking of this possibility, these people felt like they were going crazy. The old man also screamed crazily. His soul hugged the ice fan and his body quickly reformed. However, under the yin and yang qi, it directly shattered again. The old man was terrified. He felt like he was going to die. Damn brat, do you dare to kill me? My grandfather will be here soon. Let me tell you, he has obtained a lot of opportunities in this year. You are definitely no match for him. If you dare to kill me, you will end up very miserably. Do you think I'm afraid of you threatening me? This time, I'll wait for your grandfather to come and then send him to hell. But before that, you can go to hell and wait. Lin Xian's big hand slapped out. It was a black and white palm with two completely opposite laws on it. However, it was perfectly combined. With one strike, he grabbed the ice fan and snatched it. The old man's soul screamed in despair and wanted to escape. Lin Xian activated the heavenly secret divine eye and used the locking spring in autumn to pull the old man's soul into an illusory world. Didn't the old man say that he would torture his soul for 1,000 years? Well, he would fulfill his wish. In his illusory world, he let the old man suffer 3,000 years of torture. In endless misery and despair, the soul of the old man from the Peacock clan dissipated. The others were also terrified as if they were facing a great enemy. It was too terrifying. The current Lin Wudi was even more terrifying than a year ago. Moreover, he was incomparably mysterious. With a raise of his hand, he easily killed an expert from the Peacock clan. Everyone was terrified. Some people even frowned. What was that black and white palm? They felt their hair stand on end. It felt like yin and yang qi. No way could it be that this Lin Wudi could directly cultivate the yin and yang laws? It was absolutely impossible. They shook their heads crazily. This kind of origin law could only be passed down in some ancient planets. It was impossible to learn it in other places. After killing the old man from the Peacock clan, Lin Xian obtained an ice fan. The ice fan wanted to resist. Lin Xian used his heavenly secret divine eye and erased the soul on it. However, he found that there were two soul imprints on it. Other than the old man's, there was another one that was even stronger. Chapter 39-33. Lin Xian guessed that it should be the man from the Peacock tribe. But so what? His divine eye shot out a golden blade of light and directly erased the soul of that person. The soul screamed as it disappeared. Damn it, I don't care who you are. I will definitely tear you into pieces. Then he turned into green smoke and disappeared. Lin Xian did not care about such a threat. If the other party dared to come, he would destroy him. That was all. He stared in front of him in surprise. This place was too unusual. It could even temper weapons. There were more than 10 sacred weapons. Although they had not been completely tempered, they had already taken shape. They should be able to take shape after a period of time. Once they were formed, how terrifying would their power be? They were tempered with yin and yang qi. He looked carefully and found that the materials needed to make these sacred weapons were extremely precious. They were all rare metals. Some of them had even gone extinct. He had to search hundreds of worlds to find a little bit of them. Good stuff. It was indeed good stuff. Lin Xian was overjoyed. This gossip really surprised him. Lin Xian was overjoyed and strode forward. Stop. The people around him shouted coldly. Lin Xian turned around and asked coldly, "How dare you stop me?" Those people trembled in fear. To be honest, the other party had easily killed the Peacock tribe's expert. This made their scalps tingle. However, they could not just watch as the other party went to get the treasure now. They said, "Lin Wudi, don't be too arrogant. Our experts will be here soon. Yes, senior sister He Feng will also be here. You'd better stay there obediently. It's impossible for you to take this place for yourself." Lin Xian reached out a large black and white hand and slapped forward. How dare you? That person roared and took out a fiery red tree branch to block. However, with a bang he exploded. His body was torn into pieces and his soul fled in panic. The surrounding people were terrified again. One had to know that the fiery red tree branch could block the ice fan. One could imagine that it was also a treasure. But even one of Lin Xian's cards couldn't stop him. Good stuff. Lin Xian sent that expert flying. Seeing the fiery red branch, he snatched it and used his heavenly fate god eye to erase the soul on it. This thing belongs to me. The soul of that powerful being was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. However, he didn't dare to say anything. He was only heavily injured now. If he dared to make a ruckus again, his heart and soul would probably be destroyed. Damn it. It looks like I can only wait for senior brother Golden Rock to come and avenge him. Who else dares to stop me? Lin Xian didn't step forward. Instead he looked around. Those people fell silent. They were no match for him at all. Seeing that no one dared to stop him, Lin Xian walked forward. He wanted to go in and collect all of the saint artifacts. However, he had only taken a few steps when the saint artifacts in front of him began to attack. Their terrifying auras made Lin Xian jump in fright. His figure flashed and dodged the attacks. Then he frowned. They could actually take the initiative to attack. Interesting. He reached out a large black and white palm and sent the attacks flying. Then he grabbed toward the inside. However, he found that the saint artifacts could still move. It seemed that they had formed a weapon formation. He couldn't take them down in a short time. Lin Xian frowned. The people around him were also surprised. Soon those people sneered. Great, it seemed that the treasures weren't so easy to take. So what if this Lin Wuti was strong? In the end he was still stopped by these sacred weapons. When their experts arrived, it would be his time of death. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He was proficient in formations. After deducing for a while, he found a way to break it. However, he needed some special methods. He turned his head and stared at the expert from the Thousand Demon City. You come here. That expert's body had been destroyed and had just recovered. When he saw Lin Wuti, his body trembled and he almost knelt on the ground. He braced himself and said, What do you want? I thought of a way to break it, but I need someone to experiment with. Go up and try it. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were stunned. The great monster from the Thousand Demon City was so angry that he vomited blood. Damn it, do you want me to be your lab rat? He was about to faint from anger. You've gone too far. Lin Xian sneered after hearing that. Can't I? When I first came here, many of you did the same thing. Even my junior brother from Wuxia City was treated the same way. I'm giving you a taste of your own medicine. Can I do that? Lin Xian's body emitted a terrifying aura. It was incomparably mysterious and made people's hair stand on end. The others were silent. Indeed, they had used this sort of method many times before. It was merely that Lin Xian was the one who had used it. They felt uncomfortable all over. Now I'll give you two choices. Either you do the experiment or I kill you now. You can choose for yourself. The great monster fell silent. He really didn't want to make a choice. Both of the results were extremely dangerous. However, in the end he sighed. It was better to listen to Lin Xian. Otherwise he wouldn't even be able to survive. As soon as he raised his head, he saw a black and white palm slapping over and turning him into a bloody mist. Even his soul couldn't escape. He was dead. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? Why did Lin Wuti suddenly attack? Lin Xian retracted his palm and snorted coldly. You've had too much time to think. I don't give you that much time. Next you. Which path do you want to take? This time, it was an expert who became a god of thunder. He was so scared that he wet his pants. Damn, this method is too ruthless. He nodded without hesitation. I'm willing to be the lab rat. What a joke. If he hesitated for a while longer, he would probably be turned into a bloody pulp. Very good. What about you? Lin Xian looked at the others. Those people felt their scalps go numb. They nodded one after another. We're willing to try. However, there was an exception, and that was the people from the Thousand Swords Pavilion. He said coldly, Kid, do you know who I am? I'm from the Thousand Swords Pavilion. If you dare to touch me, try it. This was a young man. He seemed to be a young genius. However, his strength was already very terrifying. Although his cultivation was at the middle stage of the fifth heavenly layer. Although he was at the fifth heaven level, coupled with the law of sword and countless exquisite sword techniques, his combat strength was probably not weaker than a fifth heaven level. Even Lin Xian suspected that he was a chief disciple. However, he quickly rejected that idea. No, a chief disciple should be stronger than this. If it was a year ago, his strength would be that of a chief disciple. However, in this year he had obtained too much fortune in this Roland's golden palace. The chief disciple had already advanced by leaps and bounds. This person only had the strength of a chief disciple back then. Now, in front of him, he was nothing. Chapter 39-34. Are they from the Myriad Swords Pavilion? They are a group of sword saints. It's too terrifying. I heard that a core disciple of the Myriad Swords Pavilion was training outside, and a top family of a world injured him. As a result, countless sword saints from the Myriad Swords Pavilion arrived. That family, including that world, was annihilated. Since then, very few people dared to offend the Myriad Swords Pavilion. Indeed, these sword saints were too powerful. Especially this group of them, they could really wipe out everything. Coupled with the fact that they had destroyed a world, no one dared to provoke the Myriad Swords Pavilion. Only some extremely terrifying existences would dare to do so. Would this Lin Xian dare to do so? The young man from the Myriad Swords Pavilion raised his head with a sneer in his eyes. How dare this guy touch him? He was sure that this guy would die miserably. The Myriad Swords Pavilion? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Your senior sister Fire Phoenix was defeated by me. How dare you be arrogant in front of me? Impossible. You're talking nonsense. The young man from the Myriad Swords Pavilion roared crazily. He did not believe it at all. How powerful was their senior sister Fire Phoenix? How could she possibly lose to him? The Myriad Swords Pavilion had their own pride, and they would not allow others to humiliate them. His body was emitting a terrifying sword law. I don't care what kind of tricks you used. If you dare to injure my senior sister Fire Phoenix, you're dead meat. Let me tell you, there is an expert from the Myriad Swords Pavilion on the pilgrim list. Do you dare to do it? As soon as these words came out, the surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. That's right, how could they forget about this? The few monsters on the pilgrim list were all here. One of them was indeed from the Myriad Swords Pavilion. He was an existence even more terrifying than the chief disciple. Because he was a minor saint, his strength was extremely strong. Now that he had suppressed his cultivation base, he was still far stronger than ordinary experts. Other than the opponents on the pilgrim list, he could be said to be invincible in the world. Who would dare to provoke such a person? Oh, someone on the pilgrim list? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and did not say a word. Currently he knew that there were two people on the pilgrim list. One was from the Myriad Swords Pavilion, and the other was from the Great Desolation Mansion. He wondered which holy city the others were from. Kid, are you afraid? The young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion raised his chin even higher. What Lin Wudi? What chief disciple? In front of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, weren't they the same? Seeing this scene, the crowd fell silent. After all, the names of the experts on the pilgrim roll were truly terrifying. At this moment, another person stepped forward. Lin Wudi, you're too arrogant. You want to take it all for yourself? Try touching me. Wow, did someone jump out again? The crowd was shocked. Soon after, he exclaimed in surprise. So they were from the Great Desolate Mansion. The Great Desolate Mansion also had a spot on the pilgrim roll. Its deterrence was no weaker than that of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Therefore at this moment they also jumped out and clamored. Lin Wudi was finished. Everyone knew that Lin Wudi was definitely going to retreat this time. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion was already on the verge of collapsing, let alone the Great Desolation Mansion. Not to mention Lin Wudi, even the Golden Rock and the others would not dare to be presumptuous. Lin Xian glanced at the other party, his eyes flickering, but he did not say a word. In front, the person from the Great Desolation Mansion sneered. Lin Wudi, how dare you be arrogant in front of us? Get lost. Kneel down obediently and hand over your treasures. If you do, I'll give you a quick death. Everyone fell silent. There was nothing they could do. After all, the Great Desolation Mansion had an expert on the pilgrim roll. However, at this moment, everyone was stunned. This was because they saw Lin Xian make a move. Another black and white palm stretched out and instantly enveloped the expert from the Great Desolation Mansion. Then, the palm exerted force and killed the person. The person's body was shattered. Sacred blood flowed out from his fingertips and pierced through the void. He roared crazily. Damn it, how dare you hurt me? Are you tired of living? The Great Desolation Mansion has an expert on the pilgrim roll. If he attacks, you'll definitely die. Let me go. However, Lin Xian did not say a word. What answered him was an even more ferocious attack. The two types of laws formed a taiji diagram and killed the person completely. Lin Xian released his hand. Endless blood splattered and fell into the void, forming a void. Are you threatening me? Go to hell then. Lin Xian's voice was icy cold. Everyone was stunned. Heavens! What did Lin Wuti do? He killed someone from the Great Desolation Mansion. Moreover, he did it after bringing out an expert on the Pilgrim Roll. Wasn't this a slap to the Pilgrim Roll's face? The Pilgrim Roll was extremely terrifying. The second astral realm was extremely vast and there were many sacred cities. In each sacred city, there were even several generations of disciples fighting for a spot on the Pilgrim Roll. One could imagine how intense the competition was. At this moment there were only 7 people on the Pilgrim Roll. These 7 people represented an unimaginable strength. Needless to say, they were definitely the strongest. Would it be a good thing to provoke such a person? However, Lin Wuti had directly provoked them. Moreover, he had directly slapped them in the face. He had killed an expert from the Great Desolation Mansion. Everyone was shocked by this. The young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion was also stunned. His eyes were wide open and his back was covered in cold sweat. How could Lin Xian dare to attack him? To be honest, he was stunned. Previously, he had brought out the Pilgrim Roll, thinking that Lin Xian was afraid and would definitely give in. Moreover, if the Great Desolation Mansion came out again, Lin Xian would definitely die. However, Lin Xian did not give in at all. Instead, he attacked and killed the person who had provoked him. Lin Xian did not care about the Pilgrim Roll or the dazzling genius at all. He was a madman. Would Lin Xian attack him now? Indeed, in the next moment he felt Lin Xian's gaze and his eyelids twitched violently. What are you trying to do? At this moment, the young man no longer had the arrogance from before. Instead, there was a deep sense of fear. This person was a demon king who did not play by the rules. The people on the Pilgrim Roll were very powerful, but they only represented themselves. If you want to rely on the Pilgrim Roll to show off, fine. However, if you want to use the power of the Pilgrim Roll to suppress me, then you are too naive. Lin Xian took a step forward. The 2 types of laws on his body condensed to form a strange Taiji pattern. He even mobilized the surrounding yin and yang qi to form a force of heaven and earth. The pressure was so strong that the young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion could not withstand it at all. With a bang, he knelt on the ground. His body trembled. No, don't kill me. He begged for mercy in horror. He knelt. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion had knelt. The people around him had all gone crazy. Lin Xian was the same. He threw his head back and laughed, his eyes filled with endless arrogance. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion, the Great Desolation Mansion, whoever stood in his way, he would kill them all. Chapter 39-35. Wasn't the 10,000 Swords Pavilion arrogant? Didn't they think that no one dared to provoke them? Fine, he would let them know what despair was. He would not kill them, but he would torture them. He wanted to defeat their pride and make them grovel before him. That was 100 times worse than killing them. As expected, the young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion came to his senses and realized that he had already knelt before Lin Fan. He could not take it anymore. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted from anger. He would probably live in Lin Xian's shadow for the rest of his life. Of the 2 geniuses who were born, one fainted from anger and the other was killed. The remaining people did not dare to rebel. They obediently followed Lin Xian's orders and began to experiment like lab rats. Thus, Lin Xian began to decipher the formation. A few days later, the aura of this place completely filled the air. A terrifying figure descended and roared in all directions. Lin Wuti die. A huge seal slammed down. It was incomparably black and it covered the sky and the earth. It directly enveloped Lin Xian. With a bang, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Lin Xian's figure swayed and dodged the attack. Then he looked into the distance. A powerhouse had arrived. The others were also stunned. In the next moment they saw a mighty man in a battle robe descending. It was the man from the Peacock tribe. It seemed that he was here for revenge. But on the other side, a golden light filled the sky. The golden rock also appeared. The saber light on his body destroyed a part of the world. You're still alive? Fine, I'll kill you with my own hands. His voice was filled with endless dominance. In the sky, flames spread. A phoenix spun and formed a beautiful figure. It had turned into a fire phoenix. Kid, I'll make you wish you were dead. The fire phoenix roared angrily. Her eyes were also filled with monstrous killing intent. They were already aware of what had happened. Lin Fan dared to humiliate the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. She had to kill him. 3 great powerhouses had arrived. Everyone was in an uproar. They knew that Lin Wuti would not be able to escape. The people on the Pilgrim leaderboard had great reputations, but they were too far away and they did not come to the Golden Palace. Therefore Lin Wuti dared to clamor. But now, three great powerhouses had descended together, joining forces to hunt down Lin Xian. This time Lin Wuti should shrink back and be afraid, right? Oh, are they all here? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked around. That's good. Saves me the trouble of looking for you guys one by one. Today I will kill all of you together. He was very excited. In his opinion, one was not enough. Only when the three of them worked together would he be able to use Tai Chi with all his strength. Upon hearing those words, the faces of the three experts darkened. He was too arrogant. Did he really think that the other party was invincible? This brat really didn't know what was good for him. In this 1 year, my growth and strength is not something you can imagine. The man from the peacock race shouted coldly. Said the Golden Rock coldly. Today I will definitely kill you. Lin Wuti, you're too arrogant. Today is the day you die. Hua Feng also stood out, surrounded by killing intent. She was the first to attack. Her terrifying sword technique swept across heaven and earth, slashing toward Lin Xian. She slashed out with her saber, sweeping through everything. The Golden Rock also attacked. When the two of them attacked together, their power was extremely terrifying. The surrounding people went crazy. Heavens, were the three great powerhouses going to attack together? It was too unbelievable. They thought that with the other party's status and strength, he would at least fight alone. Wasn't it a little too much for the three of them to attack together? However, the three powerhouses did not seem to be embarrassed. At this moment all of them attacked crazily. The Golden Rock roared and beams of light slashed down from the sky, turning into terrifying phantoms of demonic beasts that pounced toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his hands. The laws of death and the laws of sun quickly condensed and were pushed out by him. With a boom, the terrifying yin and yang completely shattered the other party's saber. Not only that, the power also charged toward the Golden Rock. So powerful. The surrounding people were stunned. They knew that the Golden Rock had changed in the past year. It was absolutely incomparable. It was far from being comparable to before. In their opinion, Lin Wuti might not be able to block it. But now, even his invincible strength was really shocking. What had the other party experienced in the past year? The Golden Rock was also stunned. Although the attack just now was not his most powerful attack, he did not hold back. But even so, he was still easily sent flying by the other party. This was a little too unbelievable. What kind of power did the other party use? Why did he feel that there was a terrifying power of yang and a terrifying chill? And the two seemed to have merged. Impossible? He roared crazily, dodged the other party's attack, and at the same time attacked forcefully. The other two also attacked. A fiery red long sword appeared in Huofeng's hand, and with monstrous laws she slashed forward. Incomparably brilliant sword light flashed, and terrifying laws filled the air. On the other side, Mr. Peacock and Gung Zi roared, and their palms turned into a large five-colored seal that descended from the sky. It was like an ancient divine mountain that could suppress everything. Kill. Lin Xian roared to the sky. He wanted to fight the three powerhouses alone. At this moment he was extremely domineering. With the death laws in his left hand and the sun laws in his right, he crossed his hands, and the two forces merged perfectly under the effect of Tai Chi kill. At this moment the power of yin and yang on Lin Xian's body trembled, and a terrifying aura spread. He charged out forcefully. With a wave of his hand, the light of yin and yang cut open the space in front of him like lightning. He sent the other party's sword chi flying, and at the same time he raised his foot and blocked the mountain moon seal in the sky. Lin Xian's attacks were bold and powerful, and his strength was incomparable. He fought with the three powerhouses and an earth-shattering sound was heard. The surrounding people went crazy and their eyeballs almost fell out. This Lin Wuti was too heaven-defying. He could really fight the three of them alone. This was impossible. Many people screamed crazily. Lin Wuti's strength was extremely strong, and he could fight against any one of the three powerhouses so they could believe it. But to fight against the three of them together, they would not dare to believe it even if they were beaten to death. What kind of strength did the three of them have? If they joined forces, no one would be able to stop them. But now Lin Wuti blocked them. How was this possible? Those people from the holy city were also shocked. The young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion was so scared that he knelt on the ground again. He originally thought that with their senior sister Fire Phoenix here, he could hold his head high and take revenge for him. But now it seemed that it would be difficult to achieve. Golden Rock, Fire Phoenix, and Peacock's pupils shrank, and their hearts were filled with shock. They were quite confident in their own strength. In their opinion, If the three of them attacked crazily without caring about their own safety, they would be able to kill the other party in an instant. But now, more than 50 moves had passed, and they were still unable to do anything to the other party. Damn it, the other party's aura was too terrifying. It seemed to have turned into yin and yang. The surrounding yin and yang chi was being mobilized by the other party. Could it be that this kid had obtained the yin and yang inheritance? Or had he cultivated the yin and yang laws? Chapter 39-36. Damn it. No, they had to capture this kid. They had to find out his secrets. The three of them were envious. They were envious of the strength of 1 against 3. They had to obtain this power. Bus. The man from the peacock race was the first to attack. He roared and a large seal appeared in his hand. It was a large black seal that looked like black jade. As soon as it appeared, it suppressed the entire area. The surroundings instantly darkened. Those who were watching the battle felt their hair stand on end. Retreat quickly. What was that? That black seal was too terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the frost fan from before. Everyone now understood why the peacock man did not want the frost fan. It turned out that he had a better treasure. When the seal fell, the golden rock and fire phoenix were extremely shocked. They sneered. The other party should be dead now, right? Lin Xian also felt a chill down his spine. This should be the other party's trump card, right? No wonder he was so arrogant before. He had indeed obtained an incredible opportunity. He snorted coldly and activated the Tai Chi art. The power of death and the law of sun gathered in his hand, forming a Tai Chi art. He pushed it out. Boom. The Tai Chi art was as fast as lightning. It broke through the sky and hit the black seal. With a loud clang, the pitch-black seal was sent flying. Not only that, the Tai Chi art did not slow down. It quickly attacked the peacock man. How was that possible? The surrounding people were completely stunned. The golden rock and fire phoenix could not believe it. The peacock man's pupils constricted. How powerful was that seal? He was confident that it could suppress the golden rock and fire phoenix. Could he not kill the other party? However, the other party sent him flying with a single attack. Damn it. What was that yin-yang light? It was too terrifying. He quickly retreated, but he realized that it was too late. That lightning-like killing intent had locked onto him. Damn it. He could only activate his battle robe to protect his body. With a loud boom, the attack landed on his battle robe and sent him flying. Boom. The void shattered, the sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. The yin-yang chi completely exploded. The peacock man vomited large mouthfuls of blood. He was too frightened. He was injured. How was that possible? The surrounding people were also screaming non-stop. That was an ancient battle robe made from the skins of dozens of sages. Its defensive power was astonishing. Not many people under the Minor Saint realm could break it. But now it was broken by Lin Wuti. No, the Saint battle robe was not damaged. It was just that the impact was too strong. The Saint battle robe was unable to completely block the attack, so the force was transmitted, injuring the mighty one from the peacock race. There were experts analyzing the situation at the back. When the others heard this, they sucked in a breath of cold air. Just what kind of power could be so powerful? Look, what is that yin-yang light? Everyone screamed. They saw that the yin and yang energies did not disappear. Instead, they were spinning in the sky. Could it be the yin-yang diagram? At last they were frightened. 2 yin-yang fishes circled in the air. If this wasn't a yin-yang diagram, then what was it? This Lin Wuti had actually grasped the power of the origin source. Damn it, he had obtained a heaven-defying fortune. At this moment, everyone went crazy. They finally understood why Lin Xian dared to challenge 3 people at once. It turned out that he had such a terrifying power of the origin source. Impossible, did he really know it? The golden rock and the fire phoenix were dumbfounded. The man from the peacock race looked extremely ugly. His wounds healed quickly, but his face was extremely pale. Why aren't you guys attacking? The 3 of us will use all our trump cards. I don't believe that we can't suppress him. At that time, the power of the origin source will be ours. Alright. The golden rock and the fire phoenix nodded. They no longer stayed behind. The golden rock took out a yin-yang vase. It also had the yin and yang energies flowing in it. The fire phoenix also took out an ancient mirror. The front side was yang and the back side was yin. It carried an extremely terrifying aura. What a terrifying treasure. It actually contained the yin and yang energies. It seemed that these 2 people had also obtained an incredible fortune. These should be 2 sacred tools. The surrounding people's eyes turned red. However, the golden rock and the fire phoenix's eyes were even redder. Although they had obtained such sacred tools and their power was unparalleled, how could they be compared to Lin Xian? Lin Xian himself could use the power of the origin source. It was a completely different concept from wielding a sacred tool. They naturally wanted to master this power themselves and not rely on sacred tools. However, they were still confident. Although Lin Xian had mastered the power of the origin source, so what? Lin Xian only had a year's time. He wouldn't have cultivated it too deeply. He should have only grasped a little. If the three of them joined forces, they should be able to suppress Lin Xian. Kill him. The golden rock roared angrily. The yin-yang vase in his hand released a terrifying aura. It quickly swept towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian felt a terrifying devouring power that seemed to want to swallow him. It seemed that the yin-yang vase could suck people in and then refine them with the yin and yang energies. On the other side, the fire phoenix also attacked. He struck out the yin-yang mirror in his hand. Two completely opposite forces flew out. This was a fatal blow. The peacock roared angrily. The pitch-black seal fell again. This place had been completely destroyed. Everyone was sent flying. Many of them coughed up blood. Their eyes were filled with fear. It was too terrifying. The three of them attacked so powerfully that no one could stop them. Lin Xian's eyes also burst with a cold, murderous intent. Lin Xian's face was also extremely gloomy. He activated the Taiji art crazily. A Taiji pattern appeared on his body. He waved his fists, opening and closing them wide. Every strike carried the power of Taiji. It was extremely powerful. Boom. He reached out and grabbed the seal, controlling it in midair. On the other side, the terrifying yin-yang mirror was also kicked away by him. Lin Xian didn't resist the terrifying devouring power at all. Instead, he used the force to quickly fly forward. Great. The golden rock sneered. However, it didn't take long for him to become terrified. He decisively retreated. He realized that Lin Xian seemed to be coming towards him. It seemed that Lin Xian wasn't sucked in by the yin-yang vase. He was doing it on purpose. Lin Xian charged in front of him. The Taiji on his body burst out and blocked the yin-yang vase. At the same time he punched out. The golden rock retreated and vomited blood. Ah! The golden rock roared and slashed out with the golden saber in his hand. He was crazy. He was injured and he was easily injured by Lin Xian. Damn it, he couldn't stand it. Lin Wuti was too brave. Yes, the three great experts had taken out such terrifying sacred artifacts, but they couldn't do anything to him. No one would be able to suppress him. Chapter 39-37. The fire phoenix controlled the yin-yang mirror while executing a peerless sword technique. The terrifying flames transformed into phoenixes one after another, rushing over. On the other side, the man from the peacock race activated the black seal while executing the ultimate divine ability of the peacock race. They would not let the other party kill the golden rock. Lin Xian was not afraid of that. His body emitted a Tai Chi symbol. The terrifying power of yin and yang filled the world. Moreover, he had the divine body, the dragon sword soul, and an unparalleled secret skill. Each of them was a peerless divine ability. Therefore at this moment his power was at its peak. Boom. He punched out with the power of yin and yang, accompanied by the roar of a dragon. It directly knocked away the sword chi that filled the sky and charged towards the fire phoenix. The fire phoenix screamed and unleashed an even more terrifying sword light to block the attack. However, she was so scared that she broke out in cold sweat. Every attack from the other party was a great threat to her. At this moment, the man from the peacock race also charged over. His five-colored divine light could sweep through everything. However, with a wave of Lin Xian's hand, the power of Tai Chi and the stellar transposition, it was as if four tails could move 1,000 caddies. The five-colored divine light was pushed aside by him and charged towards the golden rock. The golden rock had just stopped his injuries when he saw the five-colored divine light. He quickly blocked the attack. However, he was still forced back and vomited blood again. Ah, damn it, you attacked me. He stared at the man from the peacock race with murderous intent. The man from the peacock race also had a cold expression. Look carefully, it's not me who hit you. It's this kid's strange attack. The golden rock was very cold and did not say anything else. He had experienced such a strange attack before. Last time he was injured by such an attack, so his expression was extremely cold. Everyone, let's attack together. An earth-shattering power was displayed. The three great experts attacked together and the entire world shook. Only Lin Xian was extremely powerful. He had mastered the power of yin and yang and could use Tai Chi, otherwise, any other expert would have died here. The more Lin Xian fought, the braver he became. His use of Tai Chi also became more and more proficient. Not only could the Taiji art mobilize the power of yin and yang, but it could also use softness to overcome hardness. In fact, he could even control the situation first and stop it with inaction. Too powerful. These were all manifestations of the great Tao. Lin Xian felt that he had entered a new realm. For example, at this moment he stood in the void without moving. Facing the powerful attacks of the three, his eyes were sharp. When the attacks were about to reach him, he moved. This movement was like a sudden clap of thunder that tore through everything. He sent all of these forces flying. A terrifying fist blasted out. Sometimes he would go berserk, making it impossible for people to guard against him. The three experts were beaten until their auras were tumbling. Sometimes their bodies even split apart. They complained bitterly. It was also because of them that they had obtained the powerful yin-yang treasures, as well as the great fortune of the past year. Otherwise they would have died without a burial ground. However, even with that being the case, they still felt that they would not be able to last for long. It wouldn't be long before the three of them were completely defeated. When they thought of this possibility, the three of them couldn't believe it. Was the other party already so heaven-defying? The five-colored divine light washed everything. The peacock man shouted loudly, and his entire body emitted a five-colored light, forming a five-colored world. It was dazzling, and the aura of the great Tao filled the air. At this moment he was finally going to use the peacock race's ultimate divine ability. The five-colored world pressed down from the sky, wanting to envelop Lin Xian. The peacock race controlled the five-colored divine light, which could wash everything in the world. At this moment the peacock man was displaying his strength to the extreme. Lin Xian used the Taiji art. The Taiji art spun and blocked the other party's five-colored divine light. At this moment the golden rock also charged over. True feather. He roared, and two primordial stone feathers flew out from his two wings, carrying the power of his bloodline. They were much more powerful than ordinary sacred artifacts. Moreover, as they intertwined with each other, they formed two ultimate attacks. This time they even hid their tracks. It was impossible to guard against them. Phoenix danced for 9 days. The Fire Phoenix also used a peerless divine ability. Accompanied by the Phantom of the Phoenix, she slashed down with her long sword. The three of them didn't hold back at all. Was this a life-and-death battle? They didn't expect the three of them to be forced to such a state. The people in the distance retreated frantically. Want to end this quickly? I'll help you. Lin Xian roared, and the Taiji art on his body erupted with an unparalleled light. The death precept in his left hand formed a black moon, and the sun precept in his right hand formed a dazzling sun. His hands crossed, forming a terrifying yin-yang ball. This power was too terrifying, enough to destroy everything. Kill. With a roar, the yin-yang qi that filled the sky completely erupted at this moment. Lin Xian was like the yin-yang war god, forcefully splitting open the sky. An earth-shattering sound was heard, and the entire place was completely drowned out. Even the entire 8 trigrams shook violently. At this moment, the people in the other spaces were also shocked. Damn it, what was happening? They were all terrified. The spectators screamed in unison. This attack should be enough to determine the winner. The terrifying energy lasted for a long time before slowly dissipating. 3 figures appeared. They were the peacock, the golden rock, and Huafeng. The 3 of them were pale and they were breathing heavily. Is he dead? The 3 of them frowned. The power was too strong. Yes, if they had known, they would have held back. They would have kept his soul and tortured out the yin-yang origin energy to pass on their inheritance. Huafeng also frowned. The peacock man said, "No, he shouldn't have died so easily. Just like how he died, the remaining flesh and blood on his body can also allow us to explore his secrets." A biting cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. The 3 of them began to search. But soon they felt a chill run down their spines. The golden rock screamed. The rock spread its wings and used its maximum speed. However, he was sent flying by a slap. His body shattered and countless golden feathers fluttered in all directions. The golden rock's entire body was smashed into a bloody mist. This attack was too powerful. How was this possible? Who did it? Huafeng screamed. The peacock man also felt his hair stand on end. He wrapped his battle robe around his body. In the next moment they saw a person who looked like a god-fiend walk out. You're not dead. They saw Lin Xian. However, what shocked them was that not only was Lin Xian not dead, but the aura on his body had become even more terrifying. All kinds of heaven and earth phenomena surrounded him. Lin Xian didn't say anything. The attack just now had also injured him. However, this angered him even more. He attacked forcefully, jumping out like a dragon. He charged towards Huofeng. Damn it, the flames of war were burning the plains. Her long sword danced and flaming sword chi filled the sky. Chapter 39-38. Lin Xian was incomparably powerful. He struck out a wave of sword chi and blocked the other party's blazing prairie. At the same time, he used the Kunpeng's speed to the extreme and arrived behind the fire phoenix. The Taiji diagram in his hand flew out like a peerless sword. It split the fire phoenix in half. The fire phoenix screamed. She was scared out of her wits. She quickly retreated with a mist of blood. Lin Xian stomped his foot again and charged towards the man from the peacock race. How dare you! The man from the peacock race suddenly recalled the five-colored world and surrounded his body. He said coldly like a ruler, I am invulnerable. You can't kill me. Sure enough, the surrounding aura was swept away by the five-colored divine light. This was the peacock race's bloodline ability. Invulnerable? Are you sure? Lin Xian sneered. Today he would break the other party's ability. He charged over aggressively. The yin and yang in the sky all turned into terrifying sword chi and fell crazily with his movements. The five-colored world trembled and was about to collapse. The man from the peacock race also roared at the sky. Block it. The five-colored divine light swept out crazily like a storm and blocked the sword chi. Did he succeed? The people in the distance cried out in surprise. The fire phoenix and the golden rock also quickly recovered. Hope was restored in their eyes. Lin Wudi, you are not invincible. I can block your yin and yang. The man from the peacock race stood in the five-colored world and roared coldly. Is that so? Then can you block this sword? The great dragon sword spirit in Lin Xian's body roared. The yin and yang sword chi turned into a giant dragon and rushed down crazily. Its power was even stronger than before. Some of the five-colored divine light in the five-colored world were actually split apart. Some were directly destroyed. How is this possible? How can you destroy my five-colored divine light? The man from the peacock race screamed. He couldn't believe it. The five-colored divine light of the peacock race was known to sweep through everything and be invulnerable. What could be destroyed? How did the other party do it? The golden rock and the fire phoenix shrieked in fright. The surrounding people were even more shocked. Lin Xian snorted coldly. So what? Open up. The giant dragon roared again and again, and the yin-yang taiji on his body became even more powerful. The sword chi was completely under his control. At this moment he was not only the yin-yang war god but also the sword ruler. The sword soared into the sky, destroying everything in its path. In the end, the five-colored divine lights were all sent flying. The five-colored world was also split open. The man from the peacock race quickly fled. Damn it. He placed the yin-yang seal in front of him and retreated quickly. Kill. Lin Xian waved his hand and used stellar transposition to send the seal flying into the distance. He didn't pay any attention to him at all. Instead, he chased after him in a frenzy. Damn it. The man from the peacock race broke out in cold sweat when he saw the other party chasing after him so easily. He spread his peacock wings and soared into the sky. He wanted to leave this place completely. However, this time the yin-yang hand reached out and sealed off the area. At the same time, Lin Xian charged forward. A large foot stepped toward the man's head. How dare you? How dare you provoke me like this? The man from the peacock race was enraged. He raised his hand and shot out a five-colored divine light. Terrifying laws filled the air, but he could not block it at all. His palm instantly shattered. Half of his body caved in. Damn it. The battle robe on his body emitted a terrifying light that completely enveloped his body. Only then did he dodge the attack. Then Lin Xian launched a frenzied attack, hitting the peacock race until he vomited blood. Useless brat, my battle robe is unparalleled. You may be able to injure me, but you can't kill me. At the same time he roared, why aren't you two attacking? This was a good opportunity. In the distance, the golden rock and the fire phoenix stood up again. They held their swords and sabers and rushed over quickly. Indeed, the peacock race had attracted the firepower. The two of them might have a chance to launch a sneak attack. In front, Lin Xian sneered. I can't break your defense. You're too naive. If you had a divine body or a sacred body, you might be able to do it. But you think you can block my attack with just a battle robe? What a joke. I'll let you know what despair is. Lin Xian's palm struck out a terrifying death dharma. Cultivating the Tai Chi diagram could not only fuse yin and yang to form Tai Chi, but it could also be used alone. It was just like the five elements Dharma. It could be gathered and dispersed. Moreover, the power of a single Dharma was far greater than before. At this moment, Lin Xian's death Dharma was even stronger than before. Black chains appeared and locked the other party's body. At the same time, they began to deprive the other party of his vitality. Although the sage battle robe was strong, it could not block the death Dharma. The peacock race was terrified. The five-colored divine light protected his body. In the end, he began to burn his bloodline to barely block it. However, he was already crying in fear. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with a golden blade of light that pierced the other party's soul. The man from the peacock race screamed. His soul was severely injured again. Damn it, he was completely terrified. How could the other party be so strong? The other party's physique, dharma, and even soul were all top-notch. He had never seen such a person before. One had to know that although the strong were powerful, they would always have one ultimate skill that they were good at. Although the others were outstanding, they were far inferior to that ultimate skill. The Fire Phoenix sword technique was superb, the golden rock was fast, and the saber technique could destroy everything. They were incomparably violent. As for him, his five-colored divine light could wash everything away and make him invulnerable. These were all their peerless divine abilities. However, Lin Xian was different. Every one of his divine abilities seemed to be a divine ability. Whether it was his physique, eye technique, or dharma, they were all top-notch. He seemed to have no weaknesses. Such a person was simply invincible. Bus. Lin Xian struck out with the Great Destruction Spear. The power of Tai Chi was infused into the Great Dragon Sword Soul. At the same time, he kept using his unparalleled secret technique and struck out with 5 times the attack. This attack was really powerful to the extreme. The man from the peacock race was sent flying. Cracks appeared on his battle robe. Oh, he was too terrified. His unparalleled defensive treasure was about to be broken. His heart was bleeding. At the same time, he frantically struck out the 5-colored divine light in an attempt to escape. He couldn't continue fighting. Another shocking attack pierced through the battle armor. The body of the man from the peacock race was pierced through and nailed to the void. The Golden Rock and Huofeng, who had just arrived, also stopped when they saw this scene. They were dumbfounded. Everyone around was completely stunned. The saint's battle robe was broken. The man from the peacock race was pierced through. Lin Wudi was too strong. He was really defying the heavens. The man from the peacock race roared at the sky. Do you dare to kill me? Our peacock bright king saint will not let you off. Is that so? Then when you go to hell you must remember my name. My name is Lin Wudi. Don't find the wrong person. Lin Xian's long spear directly shattered the other party's body. The power of death directly extracted the other party's soul. Chapter 39:39. His bloodline and soul became dim. At this moment, the dragon-shaped sword chi rushed out and completely destroyed his last trace of life. A broken battle robe fell from the sky. What followed was blood. It pierced through the 9 heavens. The other party was completely killed. There was no way he could survive. He was dead. The surrounding people were terrified. Many of them knelt on the ground. How could such a powerful expert of the peacock race be killed? The Fire Phoenix was stunned. The golden rock trembled all over. He screamed and turned to run. At this moment he used his bloodline talent to the extreme. The golden rock turned into a stream of light and fled into the distance. He did not dare to attack again. The surrounding people couldn't believe that the golden rock had actually escaped. Moreover, it had used its maximum speed to escape. Lin Xian did not chase after him. He activated the heavenly secret child prodigy. A pair of golden eyes in the sky locked down like the eyes of a god. He shot out a golden light pattern and marked the golden rock. As long as the mark was there, even if the other party escaped to another world, he could still see him clearly and hunt him down. In other words, no matter how far the other party escaped, he would be under his control. Therefore Lin Xian turned to look at the Fire Phoenix. He would kill the Fire Phoenix first, then go after the golden rock. He would not let any of these 3 people go. What are you trying to do? The Fire Phoenix was nervous when she saw Lin Xian turn to look at her. She said coldly, "Kid, you may have defeated me, but it's impossible for you to kill me. I'm from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. If you don't ask around, who would dare to touch the 10,000 Swords Pavilion?" Even though Huofeng was injured and covered in blood, she still raised her chin and exuded an aura of nobility. She looked exactly the same as the arrogant 10,000 Swords Pavilion youth. Lin Xian laughed when he saw this. Indeed, the 10,000 Swords Pavilion was full of arrogance. Your junior brother before you already showed off in front of me and even used an expert on the sage list to suppress me? However, do you know what his ending was? The Fire Phoenix was stunned when she heard Lin Xian's words. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion youth in the distance trembled. He quickly lowered his head, wishing that he could find a hole to hide in. The Fire Phoenix had a bad premonition when she saw this scene. She asked coldly, "What's the result? You attacked him? Do you want to die?" She was going crazy. Someone dared to provoke the 10,000 Swords Pavilion? He was courting death. No, I didn't attack him. I only killed an expert from the great desolate mansion in front of him. I will let him know that a genius on the sage list can't threaten me, not to mention suppressing me. So, when he saw this scene, he obediently knelt down and begged for mercy. If you kneel down and beg for mercy, I can give you a quick death. The Fire Phoenix was shocked. A disciple of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion was actually kneeling. Back then, when someone injured one of their core disciples, they could send out countless sword saints to destroy that person's world. Now Lin Wuti dared to provoke them? What a joke. The Fire Phoenix screamed, "Die." This sound wave turned into countless sword waves that slashed out in all directions. The whole world seemed to be split open. The power was terrifying. Everyone was shocked. Even though the Fire Phoenix was injured, she was not someone that any sage could provoke. Such a person was too strong. Lin Xian snorted and waved his hand. The terrifying power of yin and yang erupted. A taiji diagram appeared in the sky and suppressed all the sword chi. He said, "The three of you couldn't defeat me even when you attacked me together, let alone now. Damn brat, do you dare to compete with me in swordsmanship?" The Fire Phoenix knew that she was going to die, but she still had a chance. In the past year, the power of her swordsmanship had increased. Her swordsmanship had become more powerful than before. Therefore, she wanted to fight for a chance. "You're no match for me in swordsmanship. You couldn't defeat me a year ago. Do you think you can turn the tables now?" Lin Xian shook his head. The Fire Phoenix snorted. "What do you mean? You don't dare. Are you trying to provoke me? Alright then, I'll let you know when you die. So what if you have swordsmanship?" The surrounding people were stunned. Chang Tian, Lin Wuti didn't use his law advantage and wanted to compete with her in swordsmanship? Did he really think that he was invincible? The Fire Phoenix was a top expert of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Her swordsmanship was unparalleled. Could Lin Wuti defeat her? These people didn't believe it. The Fire Phoenix was also stunned, but soon she sneered. If he was too arrogant, she would let him see her improvement in the past year. With a cold shout, countless flaming sword chi danced around her. Sky-burning sword technique. The terrifying sword chi was displayed again. Its power was indeed much stronger than a year ago. Your improvement? Lin Xian sneered. How do you know my improvement in the past year? Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. In the past year, he had not only cultivated Tai Chi of the 9 primordial blood essences that he had obtained, 4 of them had been swallowed by the Great Dragon Sword Soul. This allowed the Great Dragon Sword Soul to recover further. Therefore, his swordsmanship had far surpassed before. In the next moment, the Fire Phoenix attacked. She waved her long sword and countless flaming sword chi descended from the sky with a brilliant light. The sword chi was piercingly cold and could pierce through the 9 heavens. The youth of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion clenched his fists. Their senior sister Fire Phoenix would definitely not lose in swordsmanship. Lin Xian snorted and waved his hand. Countless swords also flew out. These sword chi were extremely sharp and pierced through the sky like the swords of a god. Their swords collided and clashed in the sky, sweeping across the area. The surrounding people were all stunned. Did Lin Wuti really only use sword chi to fight against the other party? He was too confident. I don't think he can last more than 10 moves. Someone concluded. But soon they were stunned. Because they realized that 30 moves had already passed. Not only did Lin Xian's sword chi not break, but it became stronger and stronger. Damn it, why was the other party's sword chi so sharp? Could it be that he was also a sword saint? No, he didn't have the law of the sword. He was just a swordsman. How could a swordsman without the law of the sword defeat a terrifying sword saint like the Fire Phoenix? Everyone felt that they were going crazy. Without the law of the sword, the attack power of the two was not on the same level at all. But why was Lin Wuti able to block it? The Fire Phoenix's face was also cold. It was the same situation again. A year ago, she was defeated by the other party. Now that her strength had increased greatly, she was still not the other party's match. Especially in the sword domain, she was suppressed again. This was unbearable for her. Chapter 39-40. Sky Burning Nirvana / Huofeng screamed as the sword energy on her body jumped. Each one was like a mountain. Murderous intent surged from above before it slashed down. The power was too strong and the surrounding people were terrified. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with a piercing cold light. Let's end this. 9 suns opened the sky. Countless sword energy condensed, and the golden sword soared into the sky, colliding with the other party's terrifying sword light. The two collided and heaven and earth collapsed. This power was too terrifying, as if it could crush the heavens. Huofeng couldn't block it at all. The fiery red sword in the sky only lasted for a moment before it shattered with a loud bang. A figure was sent flying backward. Huofeng was really injured. Heavens, how could it be? In terms of sword technique, she actually lost to Lin Wudi. Wasn't she a sword saint? She couldn't beat Lin Wudi even with the law of the sword? This Lin Wudi was really too heaven-defying. Impossible. The youth from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion screamed crazily. Did senior sister Huofeng really lose? This made him unable to believe it. Huofeng flew out and landed on the ground, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Her body was covered in cracks, and it seemed like she would shatter with the slightest movement. She struggled to stand up, but her body was shattered into many pieces. How could this be? Huofeng felt that her heart was about to collapse. Everything was over. Lin Xian walked forward and slashed again. Huofeng's blood splattered everywhere, and she looked even more miserable. It seemed that it wouldn't be long before she was killed. No, stop. Damn it, how dare you? The youth from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion in the distance roared crazily. The others were also shocked. This Lin Wudi killed the powerhouse of the peacock race, and now he was going to kill Huofeng. Huofeng was not only a top genius of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion, but she was also a powerhouse of the phoenix race. If such a person fell, it would cause a huge commotion. Lin Xian didn't care at all. The Taiji diagram crushed forward. Blood splattered everywhere. Huofeng became incomparably weak. She couldn't resist at all. She was getting weaker and weaker and was about to be destroyed. But at this moment she screamed Nirvana. The blood on her body suddenly burst into flames, turning into a monstrous fire that enveloped him. The terrible light of the fire shone for 9 days. At this moment, everyone was shocked. Phoenix Nirvana. This was a divine ability of the Phoenix clan. For example, the 9-headed Heavenly Snake clan had 9 lives. The Peacock clan's bloodline possessed the 5-colored divine light and was invulnerable. The bloodline talent of the Phoenix clan was Nirvana. No matter how injured you were, once the egg was reborn, it was the same as being resurrected. It was equivalent to saving a life. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The Tai Chi diagram directly crushed and collided with those terrifying bloodlines. Did this Lin Wudi really want to kill him? These people were all crazy. Even Nirvana was not spared. Inside, Huofeng screamed. She was terrified. This was because she felt that the other party's Taiji diagram could really interrupt her Nirvana. In the end, she screamed and the bloodline flames grew even larger, swallowing everything. The Tai Chi diagram was blocked outside. After a long while, the terrifying bloodline flame finally dissipated. In front of them, a huge stone appeared. There was a fiery red mark on it. It was abnormally mysterious. Those people were stunned. Was this the Phoenix Nirvana? There were also some experts who screamed. No, this was the most terrifying Nirvana, equivalent to rebirth. This Lin Wudi actually forced Huofeng to this extent? There were 2 types of Nirvana. One was rapid recovery. For example, Lin Xian had cultivated a divine ability before rebirth from fire. No matter how injured he was, he could recover in an instant. The second type was even more dangerous. It was equivalent to giving up all his cultivation and divine abilities and returning to his original state. For example, Huofeng gave up everything and became a phoenix stone. Even if he was resurrected, he would probably no longer be a saint, but in his original state. Perhaps he would only be in a state similar to an ordinary person. This kind of drop in cultivation was like falling from heaven to hell. No one dared to use it. However, in order to save his life, he was probably going all out. Lin Xian snorted coldly after seeing this. Nirvana rebirth, he had some courage. With a wave of his sleeve, he put away the phoenix stone, unsealed it, and threw it directly into the black earth. He was going to give this thing to Murong Qingqing because Murong Qingqing also had the phoenix bloodline, and it was the 7-colored phoenix bloodline. It was just that she didn't have the inheritance of the emperor family. The bloodline of this phoenix might be able to inspire Murong Qingqing. Did he take it away? It seemed that even if Huofeng was reborn, his whereabouts would probably be very miserable. He wouldn't be able to escape from Lin Wudi's hands at all. Countless people were terrified. The man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion knelt on the ground, trembling. He knew that Huofeng was finished. He was angry, but he didn't dare to take revenge. It seemed that he could only keep his life and leave alive before reporting to the powerhouses of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Next it was Jinpeng. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Under his heavenly secret ability, he discovered that Jinpeng had already left the Blood 8 trigrams and was even about to leave the Yin-Yang Hall. What a coward. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. Previously, when Jinpeng was strong, he was still arrogant and wanted to kill him more than once. Now that he couldn't beat him, he actually ran away so quickly. Spineless. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He didn't immediately make a move. Jinpeng was in his control anyway, and he didn't want to leave so quickly. He wanted to see if there were any other opportunities in the 8 trigrams. He flew away and once again flew towards the center of the Blood 8 trigrams. He felt the pure yin-yang aura there. At the same time, his eyes flickered. The yin-yang 8 trigrams did indeed have a mysterious connection. He didn't know if he could resonate with it and obtain something special. Lin Xian operated Tai Chi with all his strength. The death and sun laws condensed and formed a Tai Chi diagram that floated and rotated above his head. It seemed to want to communicate with the Blood 8 trigrams. Lin Xian only wanted to give it a try, but he realized that he had succeeded. The 8 trigrams rotated violently, and the 8 runes on it emitted an unparalleled light. At this moment, everyone in the 8 trigrams was shocked. Damn it, what's going on? What happened? The Blood 8 trigrams were changing. Was he going to disappear? Or was an even greater opportunity about to appear? Not good. Look, what is Lin Wudi doing? Finally, someone screamed. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Could it be that Lin Wudi had fallen again? Many people looked around and scanned the void tens of thousands of miles away. They saw that in the depths of the Blood 8 trigrams, Lin Xian was using a yin-yang Tai Chi diagram. They didn't know what he was doing. What was this guy trying to do? These people were terrified. Lin Xian was also surprised that it was effective. He was just trying and didn't think too much about it. Chapter 39-41. Bus. The 8 trigrams shook violently. 8 mysterious runes flew out from the 8 spaces and quickly gathered at the center of the 8 trigrams. Then they formed a small 8 trigrams. This 8 trigrams was as red as blood. It had a mysterious aura as it descended. What? A small 8 trigrams? Could it be a kind of creation inheritance? The surrounding people's eyes turned red. Damn it. Hurry up. We can't let him get it. We have to get it. These people screamed crazily. They had already seen Lin Xian's yin-yang origin energy. Sweeping through all 4 directions, no one could match him. They were extremely envious of this origin energy. However, they couldn't get it at all. Now, a small 8 trigrams had appeared. Perhaps it was also a origin energy. If they could get it, they wouldn't be weaker than Lin Wudi. They might be even stronger. How could they not be tempted? At this moment, the eyes of the experts in the 8 spaces of the 8 trigrams turned red. They quickly gathered their teammates. They had to cross everything to get such a powerful treasure. As expected, the experts in the other halls were shocked when they heard the news. Is there such a origin energy? Let's go. Some of them rushed out from the Heavenly Palace, while others rushed out from the Earth Palace. In short, they all rushed to the Yin-Yang Hall. The Golden Rock also came back with the experts from the Monster City. On the other side, the young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion used a secret technique to contact the Sword Sage of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. They were determined to get their revenge. No matter who it was, Lin Wudi or anyone else who dared to go against the 10,000 Swords Pavilion would be destroyed. Suddenly, many experts appeared in the Yin-Yang Hall. They quickly rushed to the 8 trigrams in the sky. In the center of the 8 trigrams, Lin Xian was stunned. What's going on? Is there a creation inheritance? He reached out to grab the small 8 trigrams. At this moment, the people around him roared, "Stop! Damn you, Lin Wudi! How dare you! Put down the treasure." Although they knew that they couldn't beat Lin Wudi, they wouldn't just stand by and watch as their treasures were snatched away. These people began to release all kinds of divine abilities and laws from far away. Boundless power surged over, blasting apart a part of the world. This time there were many people who left. Although their individual strength was not enough, at this moment when they attacked together, the power was truly incomparably shocking. The stars moved. Lin Xian waved his sleeve, and a strange force pushed the berserk mystiques in another direction. The space in front of him continued to shatter, forming an endless abyss. Damn it. Those people did not give up and charged over again. Lin Xin used the Taiji diagram. It spun continuously in his hand, pushing all the power to the surroundings. Lin Xin, on the other hand, grabbed hold of a small piece of gossip. Then he put it away. Right now, he didn't have the time to figure out what this careful gossip was for. I have to get out of here first. Lin Xin turned his head and looked around. There were countless figures around him, rushing over crazily. These people's eyes were red, and in the distance, there was an even more surging aura. He had to leave quickly. These people were going crazy. Sure enough, these people roared crazily and rushed over. Lin Xin shouted coldly, and the Taiji diagram exploded. His hands opened and closed, and terrifying death laws and sun laws kept surging. He blew up all the saints who were close to him. How powerful was his strength? In an instant, more than a dozen saints' bodies were shattered, and saint blood splattered everywhere. The surrounding people were frightened by this scene. Lin Xin took this opportunity to quickly leave. At the same time, the 8 trigrams shook violently, forming a mysterious force that pushed everyone out. Not good, the 8 trigrams were about to close. Damn it, I haven't snatched my fortune yet. Those people inside were crazy. There were so many treasures in the 8 trigrams that it made people jealous. But at this moment they had no chance to get it. Damn it, it's Lin Wudi. It must be Lin Wudi who fell. These people roared crazily and more people chased after Lin Xian. In the end, everyone was pushed out. The 8 trigrams floated in the sky and slowly disappeared from the Yin-Yang Palace. Those people roared at the sky. Kill. Yes, kill him. He had obtained the most powerful origin energy. Quick, he still had the 8 trigrams in his hand. Perhaps it was also a treasure trove. These people's eyes were red with killing, and they rushed out like the wind. At this moment, those experts were all facing Lin Xian. Lin Xian suffered a huge attack. Although these people were not as strong as the man from the Golden Peacock race, that was only in terms of individual strength. With so many experts, even the Golden Rock and the others could not resist at all. Even he felt his scalp go numb. He had to fight his way out. He roared and pulled out the Spear of Great Destruction. He also took out the unparalleled sword. In his body, the great dragon sword soul roared. Lin Xian looked in a direction and charged out. Leave him alone. Those people roared crazily and tried to stop him. Quickly form a formation and attack him from afar. He has a divine body. Don't get too close. These people also knew that Lin Xian was strong, so no one dared to fight him in close combat. They only used various laws to resist. The sky was filled with a terrifying aura. In an instant, the sky was sealed in ice. In the next moment, countless flames intertwined. Thunder even fell from the sky. All kinds of strange phenomena appeared one after another. It was as if the world had been destroyed. Lin Xian couldn't help but block. However, he was still injured. There was no choice. There were too many people attacking him. They were densely packed and could not be counted at a glance. It was only because Lin Xian had a divine body that he had many creation divine abilities. Otherwise, if it were any other expert, they would have been blown apart long ago. But Lin Xian's eyes turned red. He knew that he could not hold back. The Taiji diagram floated around him. He summoned the great dragon sword soul, and a dragon-shaped sword shadow surrounded his body. He turned into a stream of light and rushed over. Stop him. In the distance, more than a dozen people formed a formation to intercept him. However, it was split in half in an instant. All kinds of whistling sounds filled the air. Lin Xian was too strong. No one could stop him. Wanna leave? No way. In the sky, a golden saber slashed down. With a clang, it collided with the Taiji diagram, making a deafening sound. The Taiji diagram floated, and the yin and yang energies rotated to block the saber. The long saber was knocked back, but an even more terrifying saber light rushed down. Obviously this was a powerhouse. It's you. Lin Xian shouted angrily. He realized that the Golden Rock had returned. Not only that, the Golden Rock also brought several great monsters with him. Demonic chi spread out from his body. It was extremely terrifying. Chapter 3942. That's right, kid. Aren't you very powerful? How dare you try to kill me? Die today. A terrifying saber light burst out as the 3 monsters attacked. Their aura was too violent, as if an ancient beast had been resurrected. Lin Xian was injured in an instant. He spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were red and a blue sea surged. A few great demons were affected by the terrifying sound waves. "Protect your soul," they screamed. Lin Xian roared and the yin-yang image flew out, directly cutting a monster in half. That person was in a miserable state. His soul did not even have time to escape before it was killed by the death aura of the yin-yang image. On the other side, Lin Xian sent out a kick that pierced through heaven and earth. That was the power of the great dragon sword soul, and it directly shattered another person. That person's soul fled in a hurry, but it was pierced by countless dragon-shaped sword chi. In the blink of an eye, 2 monsters were dead. How is it possible that he's so powerful? The golden rock was stunned. That shouldn't be the case. His opponent has become stronger again. He did not know that Lin Xian did not use all his trump cards when he fought against the 3 of them. Otherwise, the 3 of them would have died long ago. At this moment, being attacked by countless sages, Lin Xian finally could not take it anymore. He was going to start a massacre. Buzz. The unparalleled sword slashed out with a monstrous aura. The golden rock could not hold the saber in his hand anymore. His hand and half of his body were completely shattered. His face was full of horror. Damn it, this power is too strong. I'm no match for him at all. He originally wanted to escape, but he realized that it was not only them, but also countless people around him wanted to kill Lin Xian. This made him laugh. "Kid, you're definitely going to die this time." He first used his speed to pull away and recover, then waited for an opportunity to attack. Some people rushed up from the surroundings, but they were no match for Lin Xian at all. In an instant, more than 20 sages died, and their blood dyed the sky red. Lin Xian even threw out a Taiji symbol, mobilizing the power of yin and yang around him. The Taiji diagram continued to expand, as if it had turned into a part of the sky, and a terrifying yin and yang aura hung down. That was the yin-yang sword chi, which had transformed into a yin-yang dragon that roared non-stop. Those who hurried over were all killed. Lin Xian relied on such powerful mystiques and methods to continuously advance. The surrounding people didn't dare to approach. They surrounded Lin Xian from afar. Not many people would let Lin Xian go. They were just waiting for an opportunity. Sure enough, they had been waiting for this opportunity. Between heaven and earth, the yin-yang image shook violently, almost shattering. Lin Xian also spat out a mouthful of blood. A crack had appeared on his body. Damn it! Who was it? Did an expert come? From the looks of it, it was even more powerful than the golden rock. He roared and his god body bloomed radiantly. His wounds healed quickly. At the same time, the Taiji diagram in the sky spun rapidly, emitting a terrifying aura. And at this moment, someone had actually pierced through the Taiji diagram and was about to descend forcefully. Had the yin and yang chi been broken? Chang Tian, you won't be able to stop me even if you want to. Who was it? The surrounding people were terrified. The golden rock's pupils also constricted. Lin Xian frowned. He felt a huge sense of danger as if he had been targeted by a terrifying expert. In the next moment he frowned. The others were shocked. Look, it's the Sword Saints. They're from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. 7 figures appeared in front of him. Each of them had monstrous sword chi on them. They were like 7 sword gods standing in front of him, blocking his way. I knew it. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion's people weren't so easy to kill. Lin Xian severely injured Huofeng and even took her away. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion would definitely not let him off. They recalled the legend that the 10,000 Swords Pavilion sword saints came out together and destroyed a world. Lin Xian was being hunted down by the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Even if he had 8 lives, it wouldn't be enough. You're Lin Wudi? The 7 sword saints in front of him stood in the void, emitting a supreme aura. One of them asked coldly, "Kneel down and accept your death. Hand over junior sister Huofeng's body." Their voices were filled with endless coldness. They didn't say a word. In the sky, the phantom of a giant sword appeared, splitting heaven and earth. Could it be them? The golden rock's eyelids twitched because the aura of those 7 people was too powerful. In particular, they could connect with each other. It made his hair stand on end. Another expert walked over and asked, "Are you the 7 swords of Tianshan?" "Yes, it's us 7 brothers." The 7 figures in front of him said coldly, "Lin Wudi, you've committed grave sins. Today we'll put you down. Kneel down and accept your punishment." The voices of the 7 figures were unusually cold. The surrounding people went crazy. The 7 swords of Tianshan were the 7 terrifying sword saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. That was because they cultivated the same sword technique called the Tianshan sword technique. The Tianshan sword technique was not only powerful, it could also form a sword formation. Therefore, these 7 sword saints would usually train together and even kill enemies together. Over time they became known as the 7 swords of Tianshan. When the 7 swords were unleashed, it was incomparable. Even the chief disciple could not withstand it. Even the fire phoenix and the golden rock could not withstand it. When the 7 swords were unleashed, it was really terrifying. This time Lin Wudi was really finished. He was too arrogant and had offended so many powerhouses. He would definitely die today. You were the one who brought them here, right? Lin Xian stared at a figure. The young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion trembled and subconsciously took 2 steps back. However, when he thought of the 7 swords of Tianshan here, he was full of confidence. That's right, Lin Wudi. How dare you go against the 10,000 Swords Pavilion? You'll definitely die. I spared your life last time, but I didn't expect you to be so reckless. In that case, go to hell. 2 light blades suddenly flew out from Lin Xian's eyes and slashed in front of him. Boom. The young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion screamed and vomited blood as he flew backward. The surrounding void shattered. The 7 swords of Tianshan were furious. They were here, but the other party dared to attack their fellow disciples. It was simply unforgivable. The sword chi on his body surged into the sky, forming a sword curtain that sent the golden light blades flying. Senior brother, save me. The young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion screamed in horror. Junior brother, don't be afraid. With us here, who would dare to kill you? The 7 swords of Tianshan were incomparably powerful. The young man from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion also heaved a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment he hugged his head and screamed. He let out a miserable scream. It turned out that it was an eye technique just now. Although the sword chi was sent flying, the young man was still attacked and his soul was injured. Now it seemed like it was about to split open. Senior brother, save me. He screamed in horror. One of them said. A mere eye technique attack could be destroyed by the sword Dao laws. Indeed, their sword chi had extremely strong offensive power. This was the foundation of their confidence. One of them waved his hand and terrifying sword Dao laws condensed into a small flying sword that flew into the young man's body. It suppressed the other party's soul. Chapter 39-43. Sure enough, the young man's expression eased a lot. Thank you, senior brother. It's okay. A mere soul attack can't hurt us at all. It can only hurt those with weak willpower. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain had sword sun runes flickering between their eyebrows, protecting their souls. So what if the other party's eye technique was powerful? It couldn't hurt their souls at all. The surrounding people were in an uproar. They had to admit that the 10,000 Swords Pavilion was too strong. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain were even more terrifying. This time Lin Wudi was really going to die. However, they were all stunned. In the next moment, a scream was heard. Many black Dao patterns suddenly appeared on the face of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion's young man. He turned into a skeleton and fell to the ground, no longer breathing. He was dead. The surrounding people were stunned. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain were also stunned. What was going on? They had already used the law of sword to protect their junior brother's soul. It was impossible for the other party to succeed. However, their junior brother was dead. Moreover, he died in front of them. In addition to their previous words, it created a completely opposite effect. They were extremely powerful before. It was impossible for someone to kill in front of them. However, in the blink of an eye, the other party killed one of their junior brothers. It was a slap in the face. The faces of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain were completely gloomy. The surrounding people were also extremely frightened. Lin Wudi's methods were too strange. Facing the heavy defense of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain, he could still kill people from a distance. The law of death. He knew the law of death. He could deprive people of their lives. His strength was so strong that the 10,000 Swords Pavilion's martial artist couldn't stop him at all. Quickly defend. Don't let him deprive you of your life. The surrounding people were also constantly casting out their defenses to resist the terrifying law of death. When the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain heard this, their faces also turned gloomy. It seemed that their junior brother had indeed been deprived of his life. It seemed that the other party had such a strange law. In their carelessness they had miscalculated. The 7 of them were surrounded by sword light. Whether it was the other party's eye technique or the law of death, they were confident that they could withstand it. Lin Wudi, how dare you kill someone from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion in front of us? You will definitely die today. Yes, and you will suffer a fate worse than death. No one can provoke the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. The 7 swords of Tianshan walked up. They were like 7 mountains causing the world to tremble. The surrounding people also retreated frantically. When the 7 swords of Tianshan attacked, Lin Wudi would not be able to escape. They only needed to wait for the result of the battle. The Golden Rock also retreated to the side. Beside him was a great demon. The other 2 had died, but at this moment, there was no grief on his face. Instead, there was a hint of malevolence. Let's see how you'll die this time. Lin Xian also felt a great threat. The Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords were much stronger than when the Golden Rock and the other 2 worked together. Thinking about it, he should be a peerless enemy. However, he had seen all kinds of experts along the way. A mere 7 sword saints were not enough to make him cower. A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. In the next moment he suddenly attacked. He tore through the void and appeared in front of the Golden Rock. He slashed down with his sword. He had said that he would not let any of the Golden Rock and the other 2 go. Originally, he wanted to wait until the matter here was over before he went to kill the other party. He didn't expect that the other party would take the initiative to come knocking on his door. What? He actually killed the Golden Rock. The surrounding people were also stunned. They didn't expect that when facing the Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords, such a terrifying enemy, he still had the mood to kill others. The Golden Rock was also shocked. He originally wanted to watch the show, but he didn't expect that the other party would attack him. Damn it. In an instant he was scared out of his wits. One had to know that the 3 of them couldn't defeat the other party, let alone now that he was alone. He quickly retreated and didn't fight back at all. Because he knew that the Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords would take care of the other party. As expected, the Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords were also angry. Was the other party still going to attack in front of them? He didn't take them seriously at all. Kid, you're courting death. One of them roared angrily. The sword chi on his body erupted and slashed at Lin Xian. Bus. Lin Xian blocked it with the Tai Chi diagram, but he killed the Golden Rock directly. He swore not to give up. The Golden Rock was about to bleed from anger. Damn it, the Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords are here, but the other party doesn't attack. What's the meaning of this? The Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords were also angry and attacked. 3 of them rushed out, and the sword chi on their bodies formed a row and slashed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian kept dodging and at the same time he attacked the Golden Rock again. The Golden Rock's hair stood on end. He was extremely nervous and at the same time he tried his best to dodge. But in the end he was still hit by the Tai Chi diagram. He was split in half. Lin Xian seized the opportunity and threw out the death demonic saber. With a monstrous aura of death, it kept taking away the other party's vitality. No, damn it, you can't do this to me. The Golden Rock screamed crazily. The Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords were here. Could the other party still kill him? The 3 of the Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords also had gloomy expressions. After such a long time they still couldn't hurt the other party. This was simply a great humiliation to them. They were about to get angry and use their ultimate skills. On the other side, the Golden Rock had already been killed. How could the Golden Rock be a match for Lin Xian? Not to mention now that Lin Xian was attacking with all his strength. The other party's soul was directly destroyed, and the 2 halves of the corpse fell down. Lin Xian grabbed it with one hand and put it away. I've said it before, I've eaten a lot of Golden Crow meat, but this is the first time I've eaten the Golden Rock meat. I hope your meat won't disappoint me. The surrounding people were stunned. Oh my god, this demon is really too terrifying. He's still thinking of doing that even now. Lin Xian was like a god fiend. After killing the Golden Rock, he turned his head again to look at the Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords. He said coldly, "The 7 of you also want to attack me? Have you thought about how you want to die? Finally, it's time to fight." Many people gasped in shock. The Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords' faces were extremely cold. What an arrogant kid. At this moment, the 7 of them finally attacked together. They were going to use the most thunder and lightning strike to kill the other party. The sword chi on their bodies combined and enveloped him like the Big Dipper. Lin Xian's body was hit in an instant, and a trace of blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. He had to admit that the 7 of them were very strong. Each of them was not weaker than the Golden Rock. When they attacked together and formed a sword formation, the power was really terrifying. Ah! With a roar, Lin Xian's divine body shone brightly. He used the Taiji diagram to tear open the void and rushed out of the other party's sword formation. Then he opened the sky with both hands and the laws of yin and yang condensed. 9 suns opened the sky. He slashed out with his sword and blasted on the Big Dipper sword formation, making a sonorous sound. Useless kid, you're no match for us at all. Today is the day you die. The Heavenly Mountain's 7 swords revealed sinister smiles. Their eyes were ruthless and cold. Chapter 39:44. It was just the first move, but the other party was already injured. This meant that the other party did not have the strength to fight against them. They would kill the other party with thunder and lightning. They would kill the other party in 3 moves and raise the prestige of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. This time, they must let everyone in the world know that the people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion were not to be trifled with. The Big Dipper rose again, and the 7-sword chi turned into starlight and slashed down. Lin Xian formed a seal with both hands, and the Tai Chi diagram kept spinning in front of him to block the attack. At the same time he roared again. 9 suns open the sky. Useless kid, you can't break it at all. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain sneered. However, in the next moment their pupils shrank. That was because they realized that cracks had appeared on the Big Dipper sword formation. Moreover, the cracks were still getting bigger. How is that possible? How could the other party's power increase so much? They were simply crazy. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Just now, he had activated the unparalleled secret technique and made the attack 5 times stronger. Seeing the sword formation break, the corners of his mouth curled into a sneer. Although the other party was strong, he could still break the other party's sword technique. With a roar, he rushed out again. His fist and palm carried a supreme aura. He finally broke the formation and charged in. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain were shocked and quickly dodged. At the same time, their expressions became extremely ugly. The surrounding people were all stunned. How is that possible? The Big Dipper sword formation was broken. How strong is Lin Wudi's ultimate combat strength? Does he really have the combat strength of a small saint? To be honest, once the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain attacked, no one below the small saint realm could resist them. However, Lin Xian could resist them now. Not only that, but he could even counterattack. Only a small saint could do that. How could he do that with his cultivation base? However, the truth was right in front of them and they could not help but believe it. You guys aren't that strong either. Do you really think the 7 of you can defeat everything? You're nothing in front of me. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain's faces were extremely gloomy. Use all of our ultimate techniques to kill him. The 7 of them were completely enraged. Since the Big Dipper 7 stars formation was broken, they would use other sword techniques. Tianshan Swordsmanship. At this moment they finally unleashed their ultimate skills. Their eyes were filled with cold killing intent. To be honest, they were also extremely shocked. The other party was able to kill the Fire Phoenix and defeat their sword formation. Not to mention that it was done by a single person. It was simply too unbelievable. If he was allowed to continue growing, he would definitely become a powerful enemy. Therefore, they had to take advantage of the fact that they were still able to defeat the other party and kill him as soon as possible. He would never allow the other party to grow. Boom. Boom. Today's earth-shattering battle had completely erupted. In front of him, yin and yang auras surged. Terrifying sword chi filled the air as if it was going to destroy the world. No one dared to approach. Finally, after over 100 moves, Lin Xian managed to repel one of his opponent's attacks. However, he was injured in the second attack. He was sent flying and 7 sword wounds appeared on his body. Every sword mark was extremely terrifying. His body was dyed red with blood. He was injured. The people who were watching the battle from afar exclaimed. Lin Wudi was finally injured. It was unbelievable that Lin Wudi was only injured after fighting for so long. He was no match for the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. Well, it was not embarrassing to die in the hands of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. After all, no one below the small saint realm could fight against the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. These people discussed animatedly. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain smirked coldly. Kid, did you see that? No matter how strong you are no match for us. Now you can go to hell in peace. You actually managed to injure my physique. Lin Xian's expression was extremely cold. It seems that you do have some tricks up your sleeves. He also admitted that the 7 of them were very powerful and could defeat everything. It was within his expectations that they could injure him. You have aroused my blood. Well then, I'll give it my all. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with a sonorous light. The laws on his body spread out and quickly healed his injuries. Why? Do you still want to fight back? I can only say that you are courting death. The 7 of them snorted and attacked again. Terrifying sword chi swept across the sky, forming the heavenly mountain sword formation. It was really powerful to the extreme. Basically there were no flaws. On the other side, Lin Xian also roared. He had indeed aroused his battle intent. It had been a long time since he encountered such a passive battle. Today was a good time to test how strong his combat strength was. With a roar, the great dragon sword spirit in his body surged crazily. Endless dragon-shaped sword chi appeared on his body. At the same time, the yin-yang diagram rotated in front of him. A terrifying divine ability was launched. His strength had become stronger than before. In an instant, the sword chi in the front row was all sent flying. The sword chi hit his body, producing a sonorous sound. Some of them were blocked by the dragon-shaped sword chi, while some were destroyed by the yin-yang diagram. He was like a fiend god, killing his way into the 7 of them. With a slap, 2 of them were sent flying. Not good. The 7 swords were also shocked. Their opponent's combat strength had become stronger and could even injure them. Quick, be careful, keep a distance. The 7 of them quickly retreated, and the sword techniques on their bodies kept flickering. 7 swords of heavenly mountain, ice slash. The 7 of them displayed terrifying sword techniques. Between heaven and earth, ice spread, and ice mountains appeared one after another. They could freeze everything. The sword chi around Lin Xian was instantly frozen. The speed of the yin-yang diagram also slowed down. In the end, it was completely frozen in the world of ice and snow. Very well, it's time to use the ice break. Piercing killing intent burst out from the eyes of the 7 of them. The eldest of the 7 swords of heavenly mountain waved the sword in his hand. However, before it landed, the ice in front of them did indeed let out a miserable groan. Then countless cracks appeared and then, it broke open with a loud bang. What's going on? The eldest of the 7 swords of heavenly mountain was stunned. I haven't used it yet. How did the ice break open? Oh no, big brother, be careful. Beside him, the second of the 7 swords of heavenly mountain roared. The eldest of the 7 swords of heavenly mountain's pupils constricted. He saw a black and white fist coming towards him fiercely. Damn it, the other party is coming. He knew that it was the power of yin and yang, so he waved his sword and formed a sky of ice wall in front of him. He blocked the yin and yang fist. The eldest of the 7 swords of heavenly mountain heaved a sigh of relief. However, at this moment, his hair stood on end. It turned out that all the yin and yang aura in front of him had disappeared and was replaced by a ray of light. A ray of piercing cold light. A golden sacred sword was burning fiercely, and the terrifying flames burned the 9 heavens. Oh no, it's the law of the sun, they were shocked. These people frantically retreated. In the next moment, the ice on their bodies completely melted, and the terrifying flames crazily rushed over. Chapter 39:45. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian activated the law of the sun with all his might at this moment. He used a single law, but its power was unparalleled. The 9 suns' divine fire on his body flickered, and the sun sword descended, shaking heaven and earth. The ice that filled the sky was torn apart. Qianshan's eldest brother also retreated quickly, but he could not. This sword was too long and he could only use the Tianshan sword technique to block it. The law of the sword that filled the sky rushed over together with the snowflakes. The two collided. Ice and fire, completely opposite forces, clashed between heaven and earth. However, half of the sky suddenly shattered, and the law of the ice that filled the sky also collapsed with a loud bang. Qianshan's eldest brother retreated, and his body was charred black. Furthermore, there was a sword wound on his body that had nearly split him in 2. In the distance, those people were stunned. Wasn't Qianshan's eldest brother Lin Xian's opponent? The other 6 of Qianshan's 7 swords also screamed. They really could not believe that their eldest brother would be defeated. Qianshan's eldest brother trembled all over, and his eyes were filled with deep fear. Now he finally knew why his opponent could kill Huofeng. It was because his opponent was very strong, ridiculously strong. In a one-on-one fight he was no match for him. He took a deep breath, and the Tianshan sword chi on his body quickly recovered, and his body that was on fire also recovered. Brothers, don't worry. This injury can't kill me. Qianshan's eldest brother stood up and said coldly. His opponent is indeed very strong. If I'm not his match in a one-on-one fight, I'm afraid no one is. But so what? Don't forget that we're Qianshan's 7 swords. We've always acted together, and no one can stop us brothers from joining forces. Yes, that's right. Let's join forces. No matter how strong he is, he can't beat the 7 of us. The other sword saint's eyes also burst with piercing killing intent, and they once again formed a formation. Lin Xian snorted coldly. What brotherhood? That was just despicable and shameless, using numbers to win against the few. Do you really think that the 7 of you can defeat me if you join forces? Today I'll let you know what a true sword technique is. The sun sword in Lin Xian's hand became even brighter. Kill. The two sides clashed again. Lin Xian was surrounded by the 7 swords of Tianshan. At this moment, every part of his body was under attack. Fortunately, his physique was strong and he didn't need to deliberately defend himself. Otherwise he would have been torn to pieces long ago. This was a very bitter battle. Lin Xian was in a very difficult situation and was injured. However, the other party was also injured. Among them, Tianshan Lao 5 and Lao 6 were almost cut in half by Lin Xian, while Tianshan Lao 7 was sent flying with a kick from Lin Xian. All the bones in his body were shattered. As for Tianshan Mountain's third brother, he was ignited by his terrifying sword qi and was almost roasted. These people didn't feel good either. Lin Xian's injuries were also very serious. It was a ghastly sight. Fortunately, his physique was strong and his recovery ability was amazing. Therefore, it looked dangerous, but it wasn't a big deal. At this moment, Tianshan Lao 2 and Tianshan Lao 2 suddenly appeared on Lin Xian's left and right and charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly and struck out with both palms. Countless sword lights danced in the center of his palms. At this moment, the other sword saints cooperated with each other and cast a powerful formation to form a terrifying ice to restrain Lin Xian. Lin Xian's speed slowed down again in an instant. This was a fatal crisis. Sure enough, Tianshan Lao 2 and Tianshan Lao 2 seized the opportunity. The sword precepts in their hands erupted with endless light. They didn't hold back at all in this attack. 2 long swords pierced through Lin Xian's body. Poof! Golden Saint blood dripped down. It was a shocking sight. The people in the distance exclaimed. No way, Lin Wudi was injured. Moreover, he was seriously injured. It's over. This time Lin Wudi is really going to be defeated. Is it going to end? Some of the powerhouses in the sacred city were also shocked. The 7 swords of Tianshan sneered. It was finally going to end. Golden blood dripped from Lin Xian's body. His eyes were unusually sharp. He slashed out with both hands like knives. With a puff, the heads of Tianshan Lao 2 and Tianshan Lao 2 flew into the air. The surrounding people were all stunned. Heavens, what did they just see? 2 powerhouses of the 7 swords of Tianshan Mountain were beheaded. Wasn't Lin Wudi going to die for sure? Damn it, it was a trap. Someone screamed. He used himself as bait to lure the 2 powerhouses to attack. After being seriously injured, the 2 powerhouses were at their weakest. At this moment, Lin Wudi made a strong move. Heavens, this Lin Wudi's scheming mind was too deep. Big brother. Second brother. The remaining sword saints also screamed crazily. They couldn't believe it at all. Being pierced through and having their heads cut off were 2 different things. The latter was definitely a serious injury. Even if they could recover, it would consume a lot of their energy. Damn it. Although their heads were cut off, Tianshan Lao 2 and Tianshan Lao 2 were still terrifying. The headless corpses could still attack. The long swords in their hands burst out with unparalleled killing intent. They wanted to continue attacking. A terrifying sword light burst out from Lin Xian's body. The aura of the great dragon sword soul burst out and pushed out the other party's sword law. Not only that, the 2 headless corpses were also sent flying. Their bodies were pierced by many dragon-shaped sword qi. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian attacked again. He sent out a few more sword qi and split the 2 headless corpses apart. Blood splattered everywhere. They were torn apart. Stop. When the surrounding sword saints saw this scene, they all went crazy. They couldn't stand it. They quickly attacked, wanting to help. Some went after the headless corpses and bodies, while others went to kill Lin Wudi. The scene was extremely chaotic for a moment. Tianshan Lao 2 and Tianshan Lao 2 also recovered quickly. Their faces turned pale, and the killing intent on their bodies was unparalleled. Damn it, they really deserve to die. Kill them. The 7 swords descended from Tianshan Mountain. The 7 of them quickly combined and scattered from the sky together. The power was really terrifying to the extreme. Lin Xian used his maximum speed to dodge quickly. At the same time he released Xiaobai. Xiaobai shuttled through the void and soon arrived in front of Tianshan Mountain. With a slap, Tianshan Mountain fainted. Boom. 9 suns opened the sky. Tianshan Mountain's Lao 2 was split in half again. No. How could this be? The 7 swords of Tianshan Mountain were about to go crazy. They couldn't believe what was happening in front of them. Their Lao too had been split in half again. What was going on? How could the other party be so powerful? The surrounding people were also stunned. The situation that was supposed to be a dead end was forcibly resolved. On the contrary, he was able to counterattack. This Lin Wuti was too unbelievable. Chapter 39-46. Next, Lin Xian and Little White worked together. Little White was very fast and could stun people. Coupled with Lin Xian's super strong sword technique, they were able to fight back. The two of them attacked each other. Boom. After the eldest brother of Tianshan sect, the second brother of Tianshan sect was also knocked out by a slap. The second brother's head flew up again. Oof. Lin Xian pushed the Tai Chi diagram with his right hand, sending the fourth brother and the sixth brother flying. Then he appeared in front of the fifth brother of Tianshan sect. Little White knocked him out with a slap, and Lin Xian attacked with a sword again. The fifth brother's body was cut in half at the waist. Next, Lin Xian was like a demon, killing in all directions. The 7 swords of Tianshan sect were beaten up miserably. The surrounding people were all stunned. They were terrified. Those were the 7 swords of Tianshan sect. They were extremely powerful. When the 7 of them worked together, no one below the small saint realm could stop them. But now they were beaten up so miserably. Boom. He kicked out like a divine sword, filled with the aura of the great dragon sword soul. It directly kicked the 7th brother of Tianshan sect into pieces. Lin Xian's killing intent was monstrous, and his sword chi was rampant. He was fighting against the 7 sword saints. He was extremely powerful and did not hold back at all. Retreat quickly. The eldest brother of the 7 swords of Tianshan sect roared crazily. The others also quickly retreated. They retreated far away and began to recover from their injuries. Every one of them was in a miserable state. Even if they recovered, their faces were pale and their aura had weakened a lot. They were no longer in their best condition. They looked ahead and gritted their teeth. To be honest, they never thought that they would have such a day. Everyone, let's attack together. Don't you want to kill him too? The 7th brother of Tianshan sect said coldly. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were stunned. What's going on? Are the 7 swords of Tianshan sect ganging up on him this time? However, the 7 swords of Tianshan sect had always fought with numbers. However, they should not be able to do anything to Lin Wuti with just this sword technique alone. They should need the help of others. Everyone gasped. The 7 swords of Tianshan sect were forced to such a state. It was probably their first time seeing it. Let's attack together. The surrounding people all sucked in a deep breath. They knew that this time, they absolutely had to take down Lin Wuti and obtain the fortune in his hands. This was the best chance they had. Very well, let's attack together. In an instant, the experts of the holy city stepped forward. The space between heaven and earth was filled with people. Fine, since you're courting death, I'll send you to heaven. Lin Xian roared as the 9 suns' divine flame burned fiercely on his body. ******* rebirth. He used his self-created great divine ability, and the wounds on his body were quickly healed. The power he consumed was also absorbed by him. The surrounding yin and yang qi quickly recovered, and the taiji diagram floated above his head. His strength had recovered to its peak. We can't give him any more chances. Kill him quickly. The surrounding people quickly rushed over. Lei Xinxing and the people from the demon city took the lead. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain charged out once again. All of a sudden, an explosion ensued. It was incomparably terrifying. All sorts of great Daos interweaved between heaven and earth. Lin Xian was incomparably powerful. His attacks were bold and powerful. Little White also appeared and disappeared like a ghost. It continuously knocked out the people around it. Even so, there were too many people attacking this time. Although Lin Xian was strong, he was still injured. Cracks appeared on his body. Golden sacred blood flowed out, dyeing his body red. However, his eyes became brighter and brighter. He was in a killing frenzy. Every move and every style was so simple and straightforward. There were no fancy moves. This was the simplicity of the great Tao. Although there were no confusing moves, the power was unparalleled. Boom. It was at this moment that the void tore open as a gigantic palm made of lightning appeared and slapped down on Lin Xian. It sent Lin Xian flying. Boom. Lin Xian felt that the bones in his back were about to break. It was obvious that this was a late-stage 5th heaven expert. Moreover, he should have used a sacred artifact. As expected, the huge palm of thunder in the sky was incomparably terrifying. Its aura filled the air. Not only that, if one looked carefully, they would be able to see that the palm was wearing a pair of gloves. Obviously the gloves were a sacred artifact. Therefore the power of this palm was incomparably terrifying. The person who attacked was also shocked. His sudden attack hit the other party with all his strength, but it only sent the other party flying. Not even a crack appeared on the other party's body. Only some bones were broken. It was too inconceivable. This physique terrified him. There was another roar. The hidden expert of Thunder God City attacked. The thunder in the sky, together with a pair of gloves, mercilessly descended once again. This attack was even more terrifying than the previous one. Lin Xian's body was covered in flames as he punched out. The golden fist turned into the sun and blasted on the thunder palm. The two collided and sparks flew everywhere. The law of sun on the golden fist burned fiercely. It blasted away the terrifying law of lei, causing cracks to appear on the palm. At the same time Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he locked onto that person. He turned into a sword light, broke through the void and attacked the other party. That person was terrified. He didn't expect the other party to discover him so quickly. Moreover, the other party's strength caused his entire arm to go numb. He could only retreat quickly. At the same time the surrounding people attacked again. However, Lin Xian was still not afraid. He stared at the Taiji diagram behind him and blocked it forcefully. He vomited blood, but he still charged forward. With a sword he split that person apart. His soul was directly destroyed by his spring autumn lock. With a scream, the corpse of the expert of Thunder God City fell, causing everyone's scalp to go numb. The fact that Lin Xian was still able to kill his enemy so easily while being pursued by so many people made them feel terrified. Next, Lin Xian was even more powerful. Although he was injured, he relied on his powerful divine body to block all of the attacks. In addition, the surroundings were filled with yin and yang qi. He could use the Taiji diagram to absorb without limit. Therefore, his combat strength had been maintained at the peak and didn't decrease. The great dragon sword soul in his body also seemed to have come alive, opening and closing wide. In the end, the endless corpses of the saints fell in pieces. The void was completely shattered. There was even a rain of blood sprinkling down. The death of so many saints was truly an earth-shattering event. In the end, those people were scared to death. Kill him. He was a demon. These people fled frantically. They didn't dare to make a move anymore. Previously, they gave Lin Xian the title of Great Demon King only because Lin Xian was too strong. But they thought that if they attacked together, any kind of prodigy wouldn't be a match. But now Lin Xian's combat strength really terrified them. This was simply a god mercilessly harvesting their lives. No matter how injured the other party was, the other party would be able to survive and not die. However, they couldn't block the other party's attack at all. Chapter 39-47. Whether it was the sword qi, the laws of yin and yang, or all of them at the same time, they would definitely die if they came into contact with it. Many people from the sacred city were scared out of their wits and fled in terror. For a moment, there was a vacuum around Lin Xian, and no one dared to go up again. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain were not having a good time either. Although they were powerful and their 7 swords were unparalleled, they had met their match. Their opponent's sword was stronger than theirs, and it even carried an indomitable aura. They had been hit a few times but they could not heal completely. The sword qi that flowed on their wounds made them fearful. What kind of trump card did the other party have to be able to use such a sword? For a moment, the atmosphere was extremely silent. Although the people around had surrounded Lin Xian, no one dared to attack rashly. Lin Xian's face was also cold. Although he had killed many experts and made everyone tremble in fear, he was not in a good condition either. After all, there were many experts fighting here and he had already been seriously injured. However, he had a divine body and his physique was strong. In addition, the yin and yang around him could provide him with energy. That was why he could hold on until now. However, if he continued to fight, he could not guarantee that his foundation would not be damaged and he might die. After all, the experts from the other halls were also rushing over. If a few more people like the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain came, he would really be in danger. Therefore, he had to kill until these people were terrified and no one dared to attack again. He stared at the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. These 7 people were the most powerful among these people, and they were also the most representative. If he could kill the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain, then the others would probably not dare to attack again. Thinking of this, Lin Xian turned his head and stared at the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. Boom! He turned into the shadow of a dragon and rushed forward. When the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain saw this, their eyelids twitched wildly, and their faces became extremely ugly. To be honest, if someone dared to provoke them, they would sneer and ignore it. But now they were scared out of their wits. They did not even want to fight with the other party. The other party was really too strong. They were all injured now, and some of them were even almost cut in half. However, it was simply impossible for them to escape in front of so many people. Therefore they could only bite the bullet. Tianshan boss said coldly. He couldn't be invincible. He had been fighting for so long and had been heavily injured by so many people. He was probably relying on his secret technique and pills to hold on. If he held on for a while longer, he would definitely die. The 7 swords of Tianshan attacked again. All kinds of sword chi crisscrossed, and the surrounding people were watching nervously. The 7 swords of Tianshan were their last hope. If even the 7 swords of Tianshan were defeated this time, then they really wouldn't dare to attack again. However, this made them despair. After a great battle, although Lin Xian was injured, the 7 swords of Tianshan had lost 2 people. The 2 sword saints were completely killed. Their souls were shattered by Lin Xian's great dragon sword soul. He could no longer be resurrected. The ones who had died were Tianshan Old 6 and Tianshan Old 7. These 2 were the youngest and had the weakest cultivation among the Tianshan 7 swords. Therefore he had been killed by Lin Xian. Damn it. Revenge. I must kill him. Tianshan Old 4 and Old 5 roared crazily, but Tianshan Old 4's eyes were red. He knew that they were no match for Lin Wuti now. If they continued to fight, they might be wiped out. Tianshan Old 2 also said, "Okay, listen to Big Brother and retreat quickly. Let's hurry to the Palace of All Life and hone our sword laws again. When we break through, it will be the time of Lin Wuti's death." The 5 of them turned into streams of light and instantly tore through the void and left. When they left, they wanted to take the bodies of Old 6 and Old 7 with them. However, they were stopped by Lin Xian. One of Tianshan Old 5's arms was cut off. "Lin Wuti, just you wait. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion won't let you off." The voices of the 7 swords of Tianshan could be heard. Their figures disappeared into the void. The surrounding people were completely terrified. They had lost. The 7 swords of Tianshan had really lost, and 2 of their sword saints had been killed. This was really an earth-shattering event. The surrounding people fled frantically. Lin Xian roared angrily. "You want to escape? Go to hell." He activated Tai Chi to the extreme. At the same time, he poured all the power of the great dragon sword soul into Tai Chi. The surrounding yin-yang chi was completely mobilized, turning into yin-yang swords that swept across the world. The entire yin-yang palace was covered by Lin Xian's Tai Chi diagram. The yin-yang saint sword was extremely powerful. How could those sages block it? Those who were hit by the sword chi were directly shattered. Some were lucky and their souls were able to escape. Some even had their souls pierced by the sword and were directly killed. Between heaven and earth, there were cries of ghosts and howls of wolves. Blood splattered everywhere. Everyone was extremely miserable. Lin Xian looked at this scene coldly from the sky like a god fiend. If he wanted to kill, no one here would dare to provoke him. In the end, the yin-yang swords that filled the sky disappeared. 70% of the people that attacked were killed. As for the remaining 30%, they were seriously injured and had to quickly flee. They would never dare to enter the yin-yang palace again in their lives. Lin Xian sat cross-legged in the yin-yang palace. His body was surrounded by yin-yang qi. It began to repair. He had been severely injured in this battle, so he had to quickly recover. There were still many people outside the yin-yang palace. Those who wanted to enter the yin-yang palace had to cultivate a heavenly Tao golden lotus. Not everyone could condense a heavenly Tao golden lotus. Although many people entered, there were even more who couldn't. These people were discussing curiously outside. They felt the terrifying aura from the yin-yang palace, but they didn't know what had happened. Soon they saw a group of people rushing out pathetically. Everyone was injured. Some of them even came out with broken bodies. Some said that they turned into blood mist and came out. Some even escaped with their souls. What had happened? These people were terrified. The people from the surrounding palaces also rushed over, wanting to rush in. However, those people said to leave quickly. The people inside were all dead. Lin Wuti had started a massacre. 2 of the 7 swords of Tianshan were killed. Do you still want to die? As soon as these words came out, the surrounding people were completely stunned. What? Lin Wuti killed 2 of the 7 swords of Tianshan? Nearly 70% of the saints inside had died. What did Lin Wuti do? Impossible. Even a small saint might not be able to do that. Someone shook his head. A person was killed until only his soul was left. He hugged a saint weapon and said coldly, "We experienced it ourselves. How could it be fake?" Lin Wuti controlled the power of yin-yang origin. He was like a god in the yin-yang palace. Not to mention small saints, even small saints would be killed by him. After saying that, he left without looking back. The others were stunned. Lin Wuti controlled the power of yin-yang origin. Just how terrifying was that? Damn it. He actually obtained such a great opportunity. Some experts in the sacred city were instantly envious. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.